Hello, and welcome to the United Devil channel with me, JB. I'm all doing extremely well this evening. Lovely to be back. Merry Christmas. So guys, I'm super happy to be back. It's amazing. I don't know if it seems a bit blurry. Hopefully, I might just need to give it a wipe actually. Oh Jesus Christ. Think I might need it to give the screen a wipe. I know that seems to be better. Look, I hope you're all doing extremely well. It should be okay. When can I get my Jaden, mate? Look, as I said before, mate, give me an email. I'm going to create a list of moderators, and then look, when we get into the new year, the channel needs to get a little bit bigger first. Look, I've got quite a few moderators already, but look, I'm not saying no. All I'm saying is that look, it takes time, my friend. Look, it takes time. So be patient, and there's always time, right? There's always time for it. So look, just be patient. But guys, look, welcome to the channel. I'm JB. First thing to say really is get into this amazing community. The only thing we say is that be respectful to the community, be respectful to me, be respectful to yourselves. Otherwise, the ban hammer comes out. We don't like to do it, but we absolutely will. Second of all, look, I'm not a dictator of this chat, so I really do read out your comments. You can try your luck because I do read out your comments. So this is why these shows take so long. This is why this watch along is so good, is because it gives me time basically to read out your comments and your chat. So look, get into it this evening. What's the score going to be? Like I'd normally do a sort of pre-show before this as well, but just going to go straight into this evening. Scott says, yes, JB. Hello, Scott, legend of the chat. Dino, legend in the house, as we'll watch along on Boxing Day. That's my evening sorted. Jaden, becoming a legend. I hope you're doing extremely well. Look, happy Boxing Day. Look, Jaden, mate, it's not as easy. Like it's. Are you my screen brightness because you just lit up better? Are you my screen brightness because you just lit? Mate, I love it. Love it. Absolute. I love it. Legend. So, Jaden, look, mate, I'm not saying no. I'm not saying yes. Look, just send me an email because I do need to create a list. And look, I fully appreciate that people want to be moderators. I'm flattered by it. So, look, just get in there. Let me get to 30,000 first, and and then we'll have that conversation. So, look, Jaden, you're basically top of that list anyway. So, look, it's all good. So, guys, get in there this evening. I want to know about anything that you've seen, and I've seen so much stuff out there. Let's go through the team news as well. So basically, the lineups this evening are the men's in goal. Martinez is back. Martinez's first start. Aiden Heaven, Luke Shaw, Dalot, Dorgu, Ugarte, Mason Mount, Cunha, and Shesko. Let me know what you think about that. Newcastle is Murphy, Gordon, Walter Marder, Bruno G, Ramsey, Tonali, Miley, Thiao, Shah, Hall, and Ramsdale in goal. I think it's going to be a very, very intriguing match, by the way. I think as we went over some of the stats before, we know what Newcastle are. We know what they're going to be. We know we're very inconsistent as well. We know that they're very inconsistent. So it could be any score. I think it could be absolutely anything. I think it's going to be a fascinating game. For those of you who are interested in the league position, I've had my thoughts on that. I think top four's gone, but look, convince me otherwise. So get into the chat, and I'll start to read those chats out. Dino says the butcher is back. It says Newcastle got dub in the bag. Look, we'll see. We will see. It's one of those things where look, look, it could be any score tonight. I think that this is a game that I think we're in a position whereby this, right? If we'd have won the previous games, and I really want to know your opinions on this, is if we'd have won the previous games, we could have gone into this game missing players and it would have been okay. But it doesn't really matter whether we're missing players because we absolutely have to win this game. I know many of you, Joel says you look like someone's faded memory of their grandfather. Thanks, mate. Thanks, Joel. It's probably the grey hair, mate. But look, I appreciate the banter. We've got no problem with the banter, Joel. As long as we don't get too personal, I don't mind banter about the football club. But anything personal, let's keep the personal stuff to a level because this is all about football. This is not about me as a person. So look, as long as you're not getting personal about it, then it's absolutely fine. So look, if you have just joined Team News Le Mans, Luke Shaw, Heaven, San Martinez, Dorgu, Ugarte, Casemiro, Dallo, Cunha, Mount, and Šeško. Luke Shaw. I mean, I guess we are between a rock and a hard place. But for me, I think the fact that Luke Shaw is still getting into this side. Look, he's available. Look, I'm not going to go too much in on these players this evening because at the end of the day, these are the players that we've got. All we've got to win. Look, by no means, I think this team needs to completely change. I'm not the biggest fan of this team. Now, look, the caveat to that is this: Bruno Fernandes is not playing tonight. Can this, is this team so intrinsically linked to Bruno Fernandes that they can't play? So, Nick Caruso said, "Evening, JB, fellow mods and legends of the channel." Nick Caruso, absolute legend, my friend. I hope you're doing extremely, extremely well. I'm still at work. Well, get your ass up now. I'm kidding. Ash says, I get a feeling that United is going to be bullied today. Cool jersey, by the way. Thanks, mate. I love this jersey. I really do. It's one of my favourites. I love it. Joey says, mate, look. Joe. Joe, mate, look, I'm a big fan. Joe, I'm a big fan of randomness, right? So, look, I don't mind it, but got a feeling this is going to be one of our toughest games to end the year. Scott says, "Can we win, JB?" Yes. What I'm going to say about this game, Scott, is this, right? Is that this is one of those games, unlike an Aston Villa, where I thought that we'd lose. I was of the opinion that I was pretty much we're going to lose this game, right? With this one, I don't know. It could go any way. I'm gonna look. It's Christmas time, right? There is no need to be afraid. At Christmas time, we banish light, and so we banish lion, whatever it is. I think that I'm gonna go for a win. I'm gonna look, against my better thoughts on this one. I am gonna go for a win tonight, and the reason why I go for a win is because Newcastle are very, very, very inconsistent. So are we. Now, I'm not just going to base it on the fact that we're at home because we sort of all know. I just think we've got more of a balanced team with Šeško up top. Newcastle are inconsistent. So are we. I just think today that we will. I think that we sneak it. I think we sneak a 1-0. And Dino says exactly. It really depends. This is what I say about this team. If we play our best, and any other of the top 4, top 6 teams play their best, they will beat us. Because I don't think our best is as good as some of the top 6's best. On a day, as Amorim keeps saying, that we can beat anybody, show it today. I need them to show it today. Dennis has got draw written all over us. Nicholas says, I take a draw, but I have my doubts when key plays missing. Chris says, has the game started yet? No, mate, it's going to start now. Newcastle will have to show up. Exactly. So the game is basically, should have started. We are 8 o'clock. The game will be starting very, very, very shortly. This will be a big 3 points in our season if we win. And, Scott, mate, I think this would be a big 3 points. But the problem for me, mate, is that it doesn't matter if we get 3 points. It's because if we can't get 3 points, if we get 3 points today, we'll probably go and get beat by Leeds. We'll probably lose to Wolves. So it's only going to be a big 3 points to me is if we get to the end of the season and we those points that have helped us get into the top 4 are we watching the game with you? If you want to, Chris, it's up to you, mate. I've got it on. This is a watch along. Get into the chat, get into the community. Let me know. Let me know about the game. Let me know what you think about it. But yeah, the plan is to watch it along with me. I can't even pronounce that, but Yoli says Newcastle started really well against Chelsea. They ran out of juice the second half. I mean, I watched the Liverpool Newcastle game, right? And Liverpool and they were the better team. Do you do the commentating? No, I will talk along. But what we tend to do in here is, look, guys, we get into the chat. I will talk about the game as I see the game, and yeah, I'll keep you informed. But we generally just talk amongst the game. I will answer your chat. We get into it and we try and have a little bit of fun. We have been through so many things on this channel, and we get through them together. So look, get in here. It's always a little bit of a tough time in here at times, but that's hopefully not my fault. Nikaruchi says, remember to like, subscribe, folks, respect the chat, and no abuse towards each other. Exactly, Nikaruchi. I couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, so get into this amazing community. I want to know what you think the scores are going to be. I'll give you the team news again in case you have missed it. So the men's, Shaw, Heaven, Forlan, Heaven, Casemiro. All right. So the first corner of the game, Mason Mount United have come out here. Hello from a Derby County fan. Hello, Luke, mate. Derby County, legends. Oh, yeah. Derby County are I really, really like Derby County. I'm watching Judge Judy as well, so keep us posted with Judge Judy. I love it, mate. I love it. All right. Mount to score first. Used to legends. Look, mate. So Derby County, mate. I remember County back in the Premier League, mate. I remember. Was it you played at the baseball ground and you had Benito Carboni, I think it was. That's some good players back in the day, did Derby. So ain't having any using transfers, JP. Yeah, mate. It's from what I've heard. It's all the same stuff. I'm glad the Semenyo stuff has been put to bed. But it's Anderson. Go on, Shesko. That's a nice bit of pace by Shesko. That's really good work by Shesko. Dallo. Back to heaven. Mate, it's all the same stuff. I think you're pretty much going to start hearing I think some more stuff the next couple of days. Archie Gemmill, yes, he's a legend. Yes, he's a legend. Worst team in Premier League history. Yeah, I know, but I remember Derby from like proper Premier League days. I mean, look, I think the latest transfer news, as I've heard it, is Tyler Adams is back on the case. You've got so Gomez is back in there again. I just find it a big pile of crap. Scott says, "Did you have a good Christmas, JB, mate? It was nice and peaceful. It was still a bit manic with the kids. I mean, lots of presents, lots of mess. But yeah, it was good, mate. Like, how were your Christmases, Scott? Like, how was your Christmas, guys? Like, let me know how your Christmases were. Let me know if you had a busy one. Let me know if you ate lots of stuff. Swindon was Swindon. Jesus Christ. Billy Davis, the bellend. I love it. Swindon. Jesus. Swindon were in the first Premier League season. I remember Swindon. Yoliva says, "You are the very positive and optimistic person. Hope you have a wonderful day and have to go back to revision." Thank you, my friend. So look, Shesko, that's really good by Shesko. Was mate, I don't doubt it, mate. Okay, this is a good start. No Derby had the least amount of points in Premier League history. But Luke, I love how you're embracing it, mate. I love how you're embracing the worst points. Look, in my view, if you can't be the best at something, be the worst. First proper sit down in the last 2 days. Oh yeah, because Dino, I bet you were cooking, right? Oh, you must have done. You must have been working over Christmas, Dino, right? Must have been as a chef. I bet your turkey was amazing. Johnny Hill says he's playing a 4-3-3 because it looks like it. Looks like Dorgu is on the right wing. Well, we were shit, but they were my. Luke, mate, I love that. Luke, I love it. I love it. It's like all the best. David, I hope you're doing extremely well, my friend. I think Amron is playing this hybrid. What kits they're wearing? They're wearing the red kit, so they're just wearing the home kits. That's a good tackle. It's a great tackle. This is Cunha. That's well one back again. Luke Shaw back to Martinez. Dino made my Christmas dinner. Well, I feel left out now. Thanks, guys. Been at work. 181 covers yesterday, 210 on Christmas Eve today. But Jesus, Dino, mate, that is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous, mate. Dino, that is ridiculous, buddy. 181 covers, 210 on Christmas Eve. Woof. Jesus, mate, that is. Might have to pull up to Amorim and show him a stat board of the amount of games Ugarte has started and lost in a row. What else to do to get him to stop playing Ugarte? Has he got a choice though? I mean, we are depleted. Kobe Mainoo's injured. Well, he's injured. Look, Johnny, mate, let's see. Dino says it was controlled chaos. Mate, I take my hat off to you, Dino, because I couldn't, mate. I couldn't. So, as it stands, United have come out fast here, and it looks like, according to Neville, because he's Mr. Conspiracy, is basically that he reckons that the goalkeeper has gone down because United have come out fast and hard, and Newcastle have changed it. So let's see. It's been a good first 10 minutes. United have started well. Good old Neville. Oh, Neville is an absolute moron. Come on, United. Right. That's some good pressing. That's it. That's great pressing. Go on, Cunha. Go on. Oh, Ugarte. That's great work. This is Ramsdale. Ramsdale is in goal. I'm liking this so far. This is a good start. Never. Oh, Scott, I love it, mate. That's some good pressing. Good pressing by Mount. Go on, Dorgu. Great ball by Dorgu. Oh. Tell you what, that's a great part. That's a great pass by Dorgu. That was a great cross by Dorgu. Shesko just sort of come behind him a bit. That's great by Dorgu. Oh, he couldn't hit that first time. Well, if there's a player that wants to compete with Ugarte to make other team win, there's your guy. See, I Neville was a cucumber striker. Wow. Oh, Baltimore just dispossessed Dorgu. Come on, Dorgu. That's a good ball. Good tackle. That's a good tackle. We have the most wins on Boxing Day, and Newcastle have the most losses. I mean, Ramsdale. Right, corner to Newcastle. Right. Oh, this is where we can suffer because we're quite a short team. We're quite a short team. Come on, get this out. Get out. Oh, Casemiro. That's well done, Cunha. Well done, Cunha. Oh, get him. That's a fantastic ball. Oof. Oh, that midfield pivot. It's a Bruno G. That's a good save by Lamens. That's a great save. That's a great save. That's a great save by Lamens. Absolute great save. Another corner. All right, come on. Get it out. Another corner. It's taken short. It's going to be whipped in by Murphy. Newcastle have definitely come back into this. Okay, that's better. It's fine. That's fine. Neville and Phillips used to cross when they was kids. Looking solid, JB. Pivot, Lamens saved us there. Tom is in the house. Hello, Tom. I hope you're doing extremely well, my friend. Give some love to Tom. I hope you're doing well, my friend. How was your Christmas, Tom? I hope you're doing extremely well, buddy. Not a bad game so far, actually. But again, we need goals. We need points. Amorim, Amorim is. I don't know if this is an enforced thing that he's doing. What it is, but it seems to be because he has to, seems to be this changing system, which, as I've said before, I think rather by luck than design. All good, buddy. All good. Just absolutely mental from my side as well. I didn't, mate. I didn't get a PS5 for Christmas, mate. I didn't, buddy. I need an early goal, 3-goal cushion before I even consider winning the game. Yeah, Tom, my Christmas was good, mate. Busy. I went to Lapland in Finland. Absolute amazing. Come back on the 22nd. It's just been mental. It's just been mental. Come on, Dallo. As we've said before, like we have gone over this game plan, and both teams are very aggressive in the midfield. Newcastle particularly are, and they'll play it down the wings. Newcastle will definitely change. Grace says, "Yo, what's up, everyone? Grace is in the house. Hope you're doing extremely well, Grace. Hope you had a good Christmas, Grace." Grace is a legend of the chat. Come on, United. Heaven. Back to my... I actually just want to say this. Nicholas says, Dallo will score first, complete one to go, and it will be in your good books, Grace's JB. Well, I look, Dallo he's not the worst culprit. There's only one number one in my book, and that's Luke Shaw. But Luke Shaw is playing. To be honest with you, I've got to say this as well, right? Is that so? Martinez. Now, when we were talking about him at the very start of the season in the pre-season, and many people of you were saying that when the Butcher comes back, we'll look better, we'll be better, he'll come back. And I basically said, look, I don't know if he's going to come back. I think he's probably done. Martinez, look, I will hold my hands up and say you guys are right. I think so far he's been really good. Get this out. That's really good play. Get this out. I've been actually pleasantly surprised by him. The fact he's come back into this team. So look, I've got to give props to the chat because you guys have said it, that he's going to come back and he's going to come into the team. He's going to be okay. Made it very clear he's only allowed to bring get it out. If Dallas scores, I'm going to give him the best 30 seconds of his life. Oh, Look, it's been an interesting 17 minutes or so. Newcastle have definitely come back into this. They've definitely changed this around. Get this out. That says, take care of yourself. United will lose. Don't even bother watching. Respectfully, look, mate. Not a problem. Not a problem. Fish Flaps. That's a great name. Pish Flaps, mate. That is a great name. Great name. Look, this could be any number. Look, I do not disrespect the Geordies at all. I think the Geordies are of a decent side. Very, very inconsistent. This game could be 1-0 to Newcastle. It could be 1-0 to us. It could be 2-2, 3-0 to us, 3-0 to, Alright. I would say, again, by the way, right, get this ball out. He wanted to whip it. Well, so basically, when I used to play football, that's all anybody would shout. Any time the ball went into the box, it was always get it out. That's the natural That's the natural reaction to any ball that goes into the box. Get it out. Right. Dalot. Šeško. I really like Šeško there. Dorgu. Go on, Mount. Goat7 Edit says, how did you support United? So I started supporting them in 1988. That's really good. Ugarte. So I started supporting them in 1988, and I started supporting them because my uncle was a United fan. So I got it from there. My uncle, my granddad were United fans. So I started supporting them. They I used to read all the books and stuff, so they used to show me all the books and that sort of stuff. So it was basically passed down to me, really. Yeah, but to be fair, mate, I wouldn't say, I only use those words on a football pitch. I don't think there's any walk of life other than a football pitch where you could say those words. Newcastle are growing into this game. Grace. Get him out. He's looking for the penalty. Okay. Exactly. Get it out. Get it out! Newcastle have come back into this. You can just see what is going on right now. I've started the game well, and Newcastle this is their third or fourth corner. Serious Soccer Fan says 2-2 is my prediction. Well done by Larmans. This is a good period now for Newcastle. I think 2-2 would be a good reflection. Newcastle at the moment have been the most dominant team. So it's back with them now. United start well against Arsenal this season, and look how that turned out. Dorgu been playing like a right winger. I do think he's sort of playing this hybrid 4-3-3. How many United shirts do you have? At the moment, I am adding to the collection. I think at the moment, probably on about 12 or 13. I think maybe 14, maybe. Serious Soccer Fan says Shearer is a better centre forward than York, Cole, Sheringham, Solskjaer, RVP, Rooney, Zlatan, Cavani, even Dennis Law. Walter Marder has a higher ceiling than Šeško. That's an interesting view. I don't think Rooney, if you're judging by goals, Serious Fan, then look, you can judge it by goals. You can judge it by centre forward play. I think that Rooney is better than Shearer. I get it. I think that's great by Šeško. Good save. I think that Grace wants to load. I'm only judging by goals alone. Well, yeah. I mean, look, if you're judging by goals alone, well, yeah. Shearer has more goals, but does it mean that Shearer's better? I disagree. Look, I understand what you're saying, but hit it, get in there! What a goal! Dorgu, get in there! Get in there! What a goal! Get in there! What a goal by Dorgu. Absolutely brilliant. What a strike. Oh, what a goal. What a goal by Dorgu. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Get in there. Absolutely brilliant. Take a bow, mate. Take a bow, because that is brilliant. Take a bow. That was brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. That was a great goal. Great goal. That's a great finish, mate. Oh, take a bow. Take a bow, mate. Take a bow. Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes, Dino. Yes, Dino. What a strike that is. Patrick Dorgu, take a bow, my friend. Absolutely brilliant. That's a great strike. Here we go. Changed. Oh, fantastic. Well done. Well done, Patrick. Brilliant. Nah, never offside in a million years. That was never offside. Never offside. Never offside. That one, not a chance. Not a chance that was offside. I miss Paul Scholes. Yeah, look, I do as well. I think most teams would miss a Paul Scholes. Get in there, have that Shearer, says Chris. 2 more goals like that, and I can have faith in the win, to Nikarutsu. We just need to not concede. It's not just the. Let me go back to that. Look, so serious soccer fan. You know, I get it. You know, I get why you like Shearer. You know, it's not. You know, I get it. But obviously, I disagree completely. Let's see if I can get this corner out. Tonali, get that out. That's great play by Mason Mount. Cunha. Go on, Cunha. Go on, Shesko. Cunha to Shesko. A little bit behind Shesko. Back to Luke Shaw. Dorgu. Go on. Oof. Dorgu, that was a great break. Really good break. Really impressed. Absolutely great break. We are better playing a 4-3-3. It's the second half where our head might drop, says Scott. So far, I'm liking what we're doing. This is probably the best I've seen us play now for quite some time. So far, so good. Was that his first goal for United? I think it was. Yes, I believe it was. We're better playing a 4-3-3. I think we look better. I think he's playing a sort of hybrid-y 4-3-3. Dorgu going for a hat trick. Dorgu is on it today. Is there a single CDM out there that United can realistically get to change their fortunes in Jan instantly? So, I think that's a great question, by the way. I really, really like that question. I think if you could get a Baleba who is on form, then I think he could be a changer for us. I think Anderson could be a changer, but the caveat to that is, and I think the reason why that is a good question is this, because I think we need 2. I don't think a singular midfielder is going to change us. I think it will make us better. That's good by Matt Cunha. That's great by Cunha. So my answer to that would be, I think we need 2, But I think if you got a Stiller, I think Neves as well. Neves. But the problem is, I don't think Neves. I think the biggest problem in this team is this, right? You need big Pat from Derby. I think the biggest problem with this is Neves. I think would be a good squad player. Now there's talk of Neves being available at £15 million. He's not going to sign a new contract. But I think the biggest problem here is that if you're going to play Bruno Fernandes as a number 8, I think that's a problem. I think Amorim would need to tailor his system, and I think he would need. That's a great tackle. And again, come on, United, sure. Unlucky. United are all over this, by the way. United are all over this. So I think that's an interesting question. We need players. So Neves, I think, would be great, but I don't think there's any singular player. I think, and Scott, what have we been saying? I think this team today looks better without Bruno Fernandes in this team because not everything is going through Bruno Fernandes. We're playing in a team. And we're playing in a team that has players who are trying to do something. Dorgu is having a fantastic game today. But Scott, I agree with you. That's the issue. Rumours are he would rather land in Spain. I will come back to the chats in a second as well. Anana would be perfect, but it's too expensive. Maybe you could trade the Ligt and Burma up front for the Belgian. Yes, mate. You should have gotten Neves before he went to Saudi. Tielemans is good too. Neves, I think, at 28 years old, I think he's perfect. I think, go on, Cunha. This is good, Cunha. Go on, Cunha. And look, that's a corner. That's a corner. That's a corner. And Nick Richard says, Bruno is not a leader, just a hyper jelly baby who wants to cry and throw his toys out the pram when it doesn't go his way. And I've been saying this for the longest time. Look, I don't take any pleasure at the moment. Look, this is just one game. This is a 30-minute spell. 30-minute spell in a game of football, right? And I have to admit that. But we do look better. We do look better. And we've been saying this on here for the longest time. I want Fernandes to go. I just want him to go. Serious fan says, my sarcasm isn't my strong suit, but also seriousness, you should have signed that. Mate, I get it. Seriously, mate. I knew it was a sarcasm of some sort. Tonali would run the show. I really like Tonali, Luke. I really like Tonali, but again, he'd be very, very expensive. But I do like Tonali a lot. I think he's a great player. So I do agree. I do agree heavily with that one. I think he's a good player. I tell you what, United, I think this is probably one of the better halves I've seen in a long while. I tell you what, Shesko there, I really like. Cunha is having an absolute great game. Cunha, I'm telling you, Cunha is having a great game. I think Cunha is playing in that number 10 position, right? He's playing in that Bruno number 10 position. Cunha is having a great game today. It looks like so much better. This is so much better to watch. Dorgu is definitely playing wide. That's unlucky Mason Mount. I'm really impressed. Right, let me get through some of the chats. Shesko, he's in a killer. He's not right now. He's not. But if you look at some of his play today, the way that he's winning, look, Shesko is winning the first ball and he's bringing people in to play Dallo and his Bolton throws. No. Fucking Dallo that guy couldn't cross a road. Great header by This is really good to watch, by the way. Sis fan says, I would love to see Hansi Flick in the PL. Let's see which team hires him eventually. Cunha's work rate and industriousness is underrated. Expansive, creative football. Finally, something good to watch with this team. We should think about signing Kofane. Dino, agree. This is expansive. This is... That was brilliant. I'm actually a bit stunned here, to be honest with you. Casemiro to Mason Mount. Oh, Cunha's having the time of his life here. Oh, I tell you what, Cunha's having the time of his life. Cunha is brilliant today. Absolutely fantastic. Brilliant. I'd love to have a Keemia United, but it's never going to happen. Next summer, big close-up row at Liverpool will be in the market for CDM. United can't compete with them without offering Tuesday night football to their employees. I think the reason why we can't the reason why we won't be able to offer it is because we're crap at doing deals. If we were in the Champions League, we should have half a chance, but we won't because we're crap at transfers, mate. But to be fair, serious fan, you mean Thursday night football? Because Tuesday night football would mean that we're in the Champions League. So I think you mean Thursday night football, mate. Because if we were playing on a Tuesday night, then it means that we're in the Champions League. God, I've missed a bunch of chats up here. I think I've done that. The real issue is if we get to half-time ahead, we need to keep the record intact, or does it slip? That's a very, very good question. I don't know. Zycon says, hello, I'm back. Hello, mate. I hope you're doing extremely well. Chris said, I thought we were going to get Ramos. No, mate. Not. Look, as you know on here, look, I read your chats because I respect the opinion. Not for me, Ramos, mate. Not in a million years, mate. I must confess that I didn't expect Joe Neves to do so well at PSG, but they used it. Serious man, serious soccer fan. You are kicking me in the chest, mate. I mean the fact that we funded the Neves deal to PSG. I mean, that's unforgivable. Thoughts on Heaven? I like Heaven. I think for a £1 million deal, the fact Heaven has come in and he's, we've got no Maguire, De Ligt. I think Heaven has grown into the team. I really like Heaven. I liked Heaven last season. I like Heaven this season. I think he's very, very good. I do. For CDM, we should think about Marimi. I'm not even gonna confess that I even know who that is. This is why I love this community and I love these chats, because you guys always come up with some names, and look, I will go away and I'll read about him. Larmin says, go on, Dallo. It says you also funded. Mike Fat99 says, "Shut up, bro." Mike, is that at me, my friend? That's nice by Shesko. Mike, is that at me, my friend? Is that a shut up to me, or is that a shut up in general? Serious Soccer Fan says, we also funded Tchouameni's deal by signing Casemiro. I really think Casemiro alongside Pogba would have been great under Oli. I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. I thought we were signing... yeah, I mean, look. I mean, yeah. People, who yeah. What minute are you on? I'm on 39, mate. I'm on 39. 30, yeah, I think I'm a little bit behind. Yeah, I think I'm a little bit behind. I have no idea why. Let's get into half time without conceding. Oof. Oh, Newcastle coming back into this. Oh. Please be respectful to that. Yeah, exactly. Ekatike, Ronaldo. Yeah, you're always behind. Mate, I was... Well... well, Scott, you can... Mike Smith says, come on to Newcastle. Come on, Newcastle. Have you seen the video of people comparing... Paul Shoes to Declan Rice, always sharp with the puns, Scott? Paul. Have you seen people comparing Paul Shoes to Declan Rice? I know you meant Paul Scholes, mate. It's a bit like, people comparing, I don't know, Henry to whoever Arsenal have got up front now. The problem is goal 7 is people now don't know what Paul Scholes was like. I do think that Paul Shoes was better though. I do. I think Paul Shoes was slightly better than Paul Scholes, but don't worry about it. I know exactly what you meant. Paul Scholes, I would compare him to David Silva. I think you mean you compare David Silva to Paul Scholes. It's different eras of different players, right? And for me, nobody compares to Paul Scholes. But I'm happily to concede that different eras have different players. So KDB, I admire him. I've got no objections with people saying that he's probably one of the best players in the Premier League ever. I don't feel that way. I feel that he is one of the good Premier League players. I mean, probably what I need to say there is some people may say that KDB is one of the best Premier League players of all time. I appreciate that. I do, because I can see why people would. And then, when you're some people could basically compare him as, to like a Lampard or, but I'm from a different era. How long is an era in your view? How many eras have we had in the Premier League? I think you have to go probably you could probably every 8 to 10 years probably. So I would say that the first era is when you got your Premier League and it sort of started, right? So you've got your bloody hell, you've got your like your Blackburns, and you've got your Shearers, you've got your Yorks, you've got your Andy Coles, you've got your the Canyos, you've got your Paul Scholes, you've got the class of '92. You've even got Chelsea in those early days under Ken Bates. Liverpool, not one of the better team of those days. Newcastle went through that phase again. And then you then kind of transition into that second phase where, you've got Bergkamp as well in that first phase. And then you then come to that sort of second phase where, you've got your Henrys, and then you've got your Rooneys come into it again. Invincibles, you can talk Ruud van Nistelrooy's, Chelsea came to the forefront. And then you've then got that kind of that City era as well. The Japanese Gangster says, a new subscriber. Thank you, my friend. I hope you're doing extremely well. So I'd probably say that we're on to our fourth generation. I think I'd say. I think we're probably on to our fourth generation now. But yeah, I think you've got your Premier League kind of originals. Then you had that advancement with the Invincibles, Henry, Rooney's, Tevez's. Then you had the sort of next phase with KDB, Aguero's, and that was now transitioned, I think, into this new phase. Let's hope our heads don't drop. Oh, Scott, I really hope not. Chris says Scholesy is a miserable commentator. Chris, I don't disagree. I don't particularly like Scholes as pundit. I think some of the things he says are correct, but I also think some of the things he says are I just find him dour. I do. I would go 92 to the Invincibles, then until Fergie's retirement, and then the Klopp era. Yeah, don't disagree. Which Liverpool loss under Klopp is favourite? 5-0 out of Trafford, 4-1 out of Trafford, 4-1 at Anfield, 7-0 at Anfield, 3-0 in the Cup, 3-1 at Anfield. Go says, what's the worst moment that's ever happened to you while supporting United? What's the worst that's ever happened to you while supporting United? When you say what is the worst thing, do you mean it happened to me personally, or happened the worst thing in a game? So just give me that. So do you mean? Yeah. So do you mean the worst thing that's happened to me personally whilst I'm watching it, or the worst thing that's happened? Oh yeah, okay. He says mine's Aguero. I think what's the worst thing that's okay? Well, what's the worst thing that's happened to me watching it? What's the worst thing that's happened to me? That is a great question. Oh God, that's a great question. What's the score? It is 1-0 to United. I think United have played extremely well. Newcastle have come back into the game a bit in this last end of the half. This half's gone quick. I think very, very well matched teams. Get it out. Hoof it out. Which team do you think is better, United or Newcastle? I think that United are edging this game. I think United in periods have looked good, but Newcastle are capable of scoring a goal. So I think United have looked a slightly better team when they have possession, but Newcastle are dangerous. They pass the ball extremely well. Get it out. Hoof it out. That's time, referee. Half time. So let me get through some of these. Are you Bruno in or Bruno out? Dominic, I am Bruno Fernandes out. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I've said this all season, and I'll give you my stance on it as well. My full stance on this is that I think Bruno Fernandes makes his team unstable. Bruno Fernandes is not a captain. If Bruno Fernandes was just another number 10, I would have no issue in keeping him. But when you get offered that amount of money, and Bruno's 31 years old. Look, I'm never going to say that Bruno Fernandes is a bad player. He's not, right? I think his time has been and gone. I think we need more players. I'm tired of Bruno Fernandes over the last 18 months. I think he's been playing out of position, which is not his fault. And I'll be consistent. Bruno Fernandes playing as an 8 is not his fault. He's been asked to do a job, and I can completely forgive that, right? But what I cannot forgive is the lack of tackling, the lack of proper passing, just the lack of any captain material. Now, I've always said this: when you people won't understand this. Danny says, "Sorry, first I was impressed. There were moments in that first half where I thought, wow, we're actually playing some good stuff, but our midfield is still not great. Newcastle, I think, have passed the ball around extremely well. I think we've defended quite well, actually. I think Aiden Heaven has been good. I think that the Butcher, and again, I'm gonna big you guys up, and I've got no problem in saying that I'm wrong. I was wrong. Martinez has come back into the side, and I think he's made a difference. I've got to give it up. I'm a very pragmatic sort of person. I've basically said that I don't think he's going to come back the same. I think he's come back great. Do you can see Maguire getting a new deal at United? Would you hand one to Shaw, Maguire, Mount? Also, does Shaw deserve a testimonial? Shaw does. He's been here for 10 years. Whether I like it or not, it's all about, for me, it's all about being fair. It's all about doing the right thing. Luke Shaw has been stealing a living at this club for the last 3 years. He's never fit. He's only ever fit for a World Cup. So I think he's been stealing a living. You give a player you do it for players and you give them money. I would hope that if we gave him, if that happened, I would hope he would donate the money to somebody because he's stolen a living here. But it's only correct and proper to give him that sort of match. So I think he deserves that. Would I give a deal to Maguire? The injuries that Maguire has had this season, no. I do agree with some people on here in the past that have said that if you take Maguire out, Maguire brings things to this side. Yes, but we are not a charity. Now, whilst I completely agree that Maguire, keeping him, you can't get rid of everybody. So I think Maguire as a defensive leader and experience-wise, I would keep him. I would, for that experience. But he's going to want 120 grand, and he's injured. This is his third this season. We're not a charity. If I want to pay for defensive, like an expert, I'm going to go pay a coach. So look, as much as I want Maguire to, I think, stay, no, because the injuries for me is just too much now. Too much now. Will I give Luke Shaw a deal? No. Luke Shaw can fuck off. Luke Shaw's contract it ends in 2027. He will be 32, 33. No. Luke Shaw can go. Mason Mount's deal ends, I think, in 27, 28. Would I give Mason Mount another contract? If Mason Mount can play and stays relatively injury-free, when his contract ends, he's still going to be reasonably young. So as long as Luke Shaw can play a part in this, Luke Shaw will have to give up the number 7 shirt. If Mason Mount gives up the number 7 shirt, Mason Mount takes a decrease in wage, I would put him on a 2-year contract as long as he stays relatively injury-free until his contract is up. However, if he plays well, I would sell him now, because I think that we need to get rid of these players who have had long-term issues. So for me, as much as I like Mason Mount, if we could get any sort of deal done, look, I want Mason Mount to play well. I do not trust Mount. So for that basis, for me, I like him. But I think if there's an opportunity to get rid of some of these players, I would take it now. Grace says, we're cooking. Delo scares me. There's a mistake in him. I agree, Danny. Dominic says, hot take. His relationship with the fans has always been off too, I feel. Bruno Fernandes, look, I don't think there is a hot take, mate. Bruno Fernandes, to me, and Antonio says, oh my God, you look like a proper Brit. Look, who cares, Anton, mate? That says more about you than it does about me. Who cares? What does my proclivity have anything to do with me doing this? You're going to say to me, oh my God, you look like, and I'm going to say, oh my God, what a prat. Oh my God, are you seriously trying to tell me in 2025, nearly 2026, that you've got a problem if people are gay? I mean, seriously. I mean, what a bigot. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. That shouldn't even be a thought in anybody's mind. Look, Bruno, for me, I don't think it's a hot take. I think there are. Bruno Fernandes, I think, splits this fan base, and I've got no issue with that at all. I think if you love Fernandes, I respect that opinion. If you don't like Fernandes, if you're in my camp, is like this. I've got no problem. It's not a case of whether I like him as a person or not. I don't know him as a person. My problem with him is that I think we need to move away from Bruno Fernandes. I am done with him. He's petulant. I don't like him as a player. I don't like him in this team. He's not a captain. And look, my biggest thing for me is the reason why I feel I have to get rid of him is because he's not a captain. And the only way you remove him as a captain is he's got to go. So for me, I think that we need... Look, if you look at this team today, everybody has their part. There's no Fernandes in there. Everybody has to then pick up the passing, pick up the shots, pick up the goals. And I actually think we look a better team. So if this is the sign of things to come, this is a sign of how we play without him in this team, I'm up for it. But look, I will openly admit that Bruno Fernandes has been one of our best players in the last 7 or 8 years. But players have their shelf life. Players have their time. I've seen so many players come and go. I've seen Cantona come and go. I've seen people like Paul Parker, who was one of my favourite players. Dennis Irwin, Pallister, Schmeichel, York, Cole, Giggsy, Keano, Beckham, Scholesy, Bart. Bruno Fernandes for me is the tip of the iceberg. He's nothing to me. I respect the player. I don't think he's a legend. I don't think he is a legendary player. I'd never class him as that. I think he's one of our best players. When you're talking about legends, and it depends. To me, legends are people like Cantona, Giggs, Rooney, Cristiano, Scholesy, Keano, those Schmeichel, those sorts of players. I would then probably put Bruno Fernandes probably down a notch. He's not a world-class player. Is he one of our greatest ever players? I'm gonna say no. I'd put him as the best of the rest. Yeah. So if you were going to have if you had a category who were legends, a category who were best players of all time, and then the sort of the best of the rest, to me, Bruno is the best of the rest. For me, I would even say this for our club, and I'm not talking about what he's done in the rest of the world. For me, Cristiano, no doubt one of the best players that ever played in this team. But for me, he's not, and he's not one of the greatest players of all time in our team. You may disagree with that, but Cristiano is probably the best player that's ever played. You can argue yes or no, but because of the length of time he played, for me, I don't think he's a legend, yes, but I think there are legends above him. But again, I'm from a different era. I've seen the players that I would class as a legend. You guys may not class as a legend. I class people like Irwin as a legend. Schmeichel, people may not know him. Pallister, for me, one of their amazing players. It's different. I think players are very, very personal, right? For me, my greatest United player of all time is Mark Hughes. I'd put Hughesy before Rooney, Cristiano, Schmeichel, Keano. Mark Hughes to me was one of the reasons I started supporting this club. Was my hero. But I think players are very. I think with players it's a very, very personal thing. Let's see what you guys are saying. Robbo, exactly. Robbo. Grace says, Zaya says, do you think United is better than last season? Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. Danny says, let Slabhead go and try all out for Guehi. Grace says, I do feel sorry for Amorim. He's resorting to a back four. Serious fans, if I were Palace, I would target conference success with European football. I don't think that they would be able to keep hold of their key players. Bruno is one of the Premier League's most divisive players of the last decade. If he were a player of another mid-table side, then he would be admired a lot more. And serious, and again, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Right? I think that's a bloody fantastic comment. And I'll tell you for why. Okay? Is because you are judged differently. Oh, someone's coming on. Someone is coming on. It is Shay Lacey. Is it Shay Lacey coming on? Or is it Darren Fletcher? Darren Fletcher's son's coming on. So, have a guess who's coming off. Mason Mount. Mason Mount's coming off injured. For fuck's sake, yet again. So, to go back up to the comment, would I keep Mason Mount? My answer to that is going to be no. And look, and it's almost like I've predicted it, right? Is that what I just said? Is that the reason why I wouldn't keep Mason Mount is because he can't keep fit. And if Mason Mount kept fit, I would keep Mason Mount. Mason Mount has had to go off injured again. Like, it's so easy to call. It's so easy to call. No. Mason Mount is injured again. No. Mason Mount, I just don't class him as a player. I don't. Mason Mount is injured. So Darren Fletcher's son has just come on. Jack Fletcher has just come on, by the way. Mason Mount. We'll go back onto the chat. Let's go back to the chat. Get a foot in, that's right. But yeah, the reason why I say your comment is really good, serious, is because... Get out. No. Oh, good tackle. Or did he balls it out there? Newcastle have come out fast here. Ball to mind that's good by Luke Shaw. Well done, Luke Shaw. So the reason why I think that's a good comment, and I'll explain it to you, is because you've summed it up. If Bruno played for anybody else, he would be considered a better player. You have to hold yourself to a higher standard when you play to this club. Whether or not right now or for the last 10 years that we've been good, I'll always say this. I demand we win the Premier League every single season, not because I'm stupid, but those are the standards that we have to hold, right? So you're 100% correct. The reason why Bruno would be judged differently at a lower level side is because the standards are not as high. And that's not a disrespect to any other team. Doesn't mean that they're not better than us. Doesn't mean that they're not good sides. But we have to have different players. This club has always demanded different players. So you're 100% right. The reason why he's judged so highly is because he plays in this club and we demand better players. John says, don't worry, be happy. It's tough being a United fan. At the moment, we just have to ride the Amorim wave. Good times are coming, my friend, says John. The thing is, if it wasn't for Bruno last year, we would be in the Championship. Look, John, I think that's an interesting opinion. I think we've heard that a lot. I think it's an interesting opinion. It's not one that I share, because what I'll always say is if Bruno Fernandes wasn't in the team, how do we know other players wouldn't pick up the slack? Bruno wasn't good last season. But look, I take the point, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I do respect the opinion, but I think there is a different side to that. Chris says, Robbo, I do agree with that. Ronaldo is soccer legend, Portuguese legend, but not a United legend. I think, is Cristiano a legend? Martinez, I think, is fantastic. Martinez did it. Go on, mate. Come on, United. Newcastle were doing exactly as we said. They're now looking to exploit that ball, be very, very aggressive. They are being very aggressive. They are inviting their attacks. Do I think that Cristiano is a legend of this club? He's won a couple of leagues. He's won Champions League. He won the Ballon d'Or. I think he has to be a legend. I mean, get it out. Win the first ball. Win the second ball. Corner. Newcastle have come out hard and fast here. I think Ronaldo is a legend. I think he's more of a legend in world football because I think he's done more. I think Cristiano is more associated with Real Madrid in the world of football. At United, he was a fantastic player. I'm on the fence. Get it out. Oh, we're inviting the Newcastle pressure now. Xavi and Iniesta. Souness is the most successful British CDM of all time. Tell you what, I as much as it pains me to say it, I would say to people, go and watch. There's a documentary about Kenny Dalglish. Watch it because it is unbelievable. Nick Ucci says, "Why are we bringing on the schoolboys?" Palace says, "Well, I feel bad for Mount." I mean, Mason Mount. I don't like to see her play injured, but this is why I don't class Mount as a serious player, because he's off at half time. I'm sorry, but Pac-Ming says glory to Man United. Nick says this is actually bum cheeks clenching with it open in the second half. Man, you have too many old players. We keep buying them for bad reasons. Delo couldn't run through a wet paper bag, let alone past a player. What has he done left us to remember? He's a very good player with us, but he went to Madrid. Tam says, what has he done and left us to remember? He's a great... Wow. All I'm going to say is this. Cristiano, if you're looking at best players of all time, Cristiano won a Ballon d'Or here, right? Cristiano's won a Champions League. Cristiano admittedly didn't win the Champions League on his own. He was in a team. I think Cristiano is just about a legend. I think the problem with Cristiano at this club is that if he'd have done what he did at Madrid here, there'd be no doubt. But Cristiano was brought here as a 17-year-old, and you watched him progress from a teenager all the way through to being the best player in the world, and he did that here. So I think that I would class him as a legend on the basis that he was here as a child, well, as a young man, and then he progressed into the best player in the entire world. So look, I would say Cristiano's one of those things whereby I think. In fact, I'm going to put that into the chat actually. Is CR7 a United legend? Now, I really want you guys to really think about this. So I've put it into the chat, right? And it might seem like a bit of an easy question, but I think that's an interesting question to ask, because think about it, right? Take out a big chunk of his career. He did win a World Cup. He did win a Champions League, but I think you've got to take into account the Rooney, Tevez, and that team that he's sort of had around him. Is Cristiano a legend? That's a question. Des says, what's your thoughts on Glasner? I think if Glasner came here, I think Glasner would be very much like Thomas Frank. If you said no, you have zero ball knowledge. I think Cristiano here is... Look, we brought him in. We shaped him into the world-class player. Cristiano is absolutely probably the or one of the best players that we've ever produced. I think you've got to put him up as a legend. I do, but Scott, I do understand why people wouldn't. And the reason why I think it's a fascinating conversation to have is because he did all his best work at Real Madrid, right? He won more away from the club, but I understand why people wouldn't think that he's a legend at this club. I think he is a legend. No debate. CR7 is a legend, but and again, look, I think it's Tam. I think it's a very interesting conversation. I do. Ozzy says, you should grow your hair out. Ozzy, mate, I don't need it, mate. I don't need it for clicks, mate. I am not bothered about all that shit. The one thing, Ozzy, that you never get on here, mate, is you don't get this stupid shit on here. And mate, I doubt that I could grow my hair. Nicaruzzi says, of course, Cristiano's one of the legends, and up against the Messiah of Barcelona, who's won national title. Yeah, agreed. I do think the Cristiano debate, in terms of United being a legend, I think it's an interesting debate. I do. I think Cristiano is a legend of football. I think he's one of the best players. Scott, not cutting my pubes, mate. You want to see my bush, Scott? It's fucking massive. Yeah. So Newcastle 57 minutes gone, and I hate to say this, but it looks like we are inviting pressure. Newcastle have come out the better team. I don't know if we're just inviting the pressure. If there's anybody gonna score, Tam says legends for United are Sparky, Cole, York, Solskjaer, Berbatov. Nah, disagree, mate. Tam, I would say, look, I will even admit this. Mark Hughes is not a legend. He's my legend. Right, Mark Hughes. Look, I would say, is Mark Hughes a legend of this club? I would say Mark Hughes is a legend to me. I don't necessarily think that people may think that. Andy Cole, Dwight York, Solskjaer. So Berbatov for me is not a legend. I wouldn't class him as a legend. I'd class him as a fantastic player. Cole and Dwight York. I wouldn't class Dwight York as a legend. I'd class Andy Cole as a legend. Solskjaer did a legendary thing, and Solskjaer a legend. Exactly. Mark Hughes managed City. Go on, Dorgu. I think that Mark Hughes is a legend to me, right? Go on, Shesko. Oh, Shesko. Brilliant by Shesko there. Shesko just from absolutely nothing. So Ugarte. That's great work, by the way, from Ugarte. So look, Mark Hughes was a legend for me. I don't know if some people would. Man City employee. Do you want Lewandowski in United? No, I don't. Lewandowski for me, no. I think he'd be a very, very not expensive mistake, but I think he'd be. Oh, Casemiro's coming off. Casemiro is coming off, by the way. Casemiro. I think it looks like Phil Jones legend, says Tom. Tom, Phil Jones is a legend. I think he's a legend in the treatment room. Rude would be better than Ollie. He did all right. Rude is Rude is a legend. So Mason, so Shesko's gone off. Xerxes come on. Euros come on. I think he's definitely gone more defensive. Nicarucci says Tom Jones is more of a legend than Phil Jones. Wow. We are under the cosh, and Amorim has gone for more of a defensive changes. Oh, Lewis Hall. Look at this. Oh, is that safe? This has gone shit again, by the way. This has gone awful again. We're doing the same thing again. Or for City says Amorim or Amorim out. This is now starting to go the way of every other game. Amorim has been very, very negative with his subs again. Martinez has gone down. Where's Rude? I think Rude is currently unemployed. Nicaruzzi's right. Newcastle owe us a new goal frame here. That's so hard. 2-2 says. I don't even want to. This is ridiculous. Looking at VAR here. Possible penalty. We've come out again for this second half. I don't know what it is, and then Amorim has then gone and made some negative sort of Xerxes. Your team is shit. Just accept it. Look, who is not agreeing with you? I mean, look, we've not the best team. We've not been the best team for 13 years. Good. That is a genuine concern. We falter and make so many mistakes on a one goal lead. Phil Jones would not know where the ball is on the pitch if the referee does not stop the game. The shirt you got on was Roy Keane era. Yeah, this shirt is the Cantona era, mate. This shirt is the Cantona era. Mark Hughes played in this shirt as well. This is early doors, this shirt. This is 94? 95, I think. What on earth is his hand supposed to do exactly? Well, luckily, this predated Andy Cole and Dwight York. No, this was before those. Every time this fucking team. Go on, Dorgu. Dorgu has been absolutely brilliant today. You can just see it coming. You can just see it coming a mile off. You can just see this coming a mile off. What is Amorim doing here? They're inviting Newcastle have had 76% possession. We need to rebuild to get these old players. We must stop. Update the score. I've updated the score, right? Is the score not updated? Should be. Thanks, mate. Murphy's got the ball. Oh, Newcastle are all over us. They're just outside the box. They're doing exactly what we said they would do. Amorim's going to... Oh my God, how... Amorim needs to do something about this. Gordon should have scored that or done something. This is so poor defending. This is so poor. This is so poor. So poor. Ugarte, mate, what are you doing? Oh, fucking Ugarte. Teddy Scherzer, how was Lapland? David, mate, it was amazing. I've actually put up a 360 video on my other channel of the Husky ride. It was fantastic. I was saying we need to rebuild. I do agree with you. As an armchair manager, don't you think it's time for you to step up? Would you consider managing, next season? Season salary, mate. I would think that the majority of us would pick more of a different team. I think that the majority of us on here would pick a completely different team. The problem is there's still 24 minutes to go, so how are we supposed to weather the storm? Mexican fan, I hope you're doing extremely well, my friend. Obviously, I don't speak Spanish, but I hope you're doing extremely well. You're right. There's 22 minutes to go. Agree, Danny. Danny, I agree. Amorim here. He's gone defensive. He wants to defend a 1-0 lead. Thought on Šeško. I hope Šeško does score. Agree with you. I think Amorim clutches defeat from a win. Go on, Cunha. I actually like Šeško today. I like what Šeško did today. I thought Šeško was really, really good today. I like the fact that Šeško won the first ball. I like the fact he won the second ball. Danny, he has gone to a back five, and you can tell that. How do you go to a back five? Like you're at home. You're attacking extremely well. I mean, I don't get it, Danny. I don't get it. Why would you? What I think he's hoping for is he's hoping for us to score one on the counter. I think he's saying to Newcastle, come and have a go, and we'll hit you on the counter. I tell you what, Dorgu is having a fantastic game here. Oh. Dorgu today, brilliant. As an armchair manager, as from next season, set up a team selection sheet competition and see what we come out with. That's not a bad idea. I'm not going to do it yet, though, because I think it's far too early. We are surviving right now. Friggin' ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. Amorim at times, I just don't get. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to win the game 1-0. and I think this is why some people are Amorim out. It's because of this negativity. You know, you these home fans, look, you don't ever at home go to a defensive formation at Old Trafford. You want to see attacking football at all time, because now if Newcastle score, how are we going to score again? Newcastle are just all over this. It's just defensive football. It's just. And again, you know, we did the preview. We spoke about them on the preview, what they would do. We gave them no space. We just need another one. I don't care how. I'd only say defend a 2 or 3-0. Dorgu for me today has been absolutely brilliant. My take off Casemiro, really weird decision. Kimi, because he's gone. I think he's gone to an ultra defensive back. I think he's gone to a back 5. I think he's gone to a back 3. But Kimi, I also think what we've got to go on. Oh my God! How did he miss that? How did Dalot miss that? How did Dalot miss that? How did Dalot miss that? Oh my God. That should be 2-0. That should be 2-0, I don't care. That should be 2-0. It's the sort of game he wins scrappy and makes him think he got it right. I do agree. I didn't realise that we were playing. Oh. Come on. Don't lament. I do agree with you, David. This is one of those scrappy. When we spoke about these games, so what I think we're very good on here, and collectively we all talk about the game, right? And I think we've got this game spot on. I think we have. We know how Newcastle are going to play. They did this to Liverpool. Gordon is ripping a new one. Oh God, Luke Shaw's got it. Luke Shaw, absolute dog shit. Oh, Gary Neville, his commentary is just you'd never think that Gary Neville played for this club. You would never think it. Never think it. Never think it. What dire, absolute dog shit, dire Gary Neville commentator. You'd never think that he played for this club. An absolute dire, boring shit. Luke Shaw. Martinez. Martinez looks lively. Chris says, I'm concerned. Chris, I'm more than concerned. I'm more... If this stays 1-0, I'd be surprised. There's a mistake in this game. Neville has zero ball knowledge. Neville, I can't stand him. I can't stand Neville. Go on. Dorgu is having the game of his life here. Honestly, if we hold on to a 1-0 lead, I'll take it as a... Nicaragua, if we can hold on to this lead, then I think it will be one of those games where we ride a lot. But Newcastle are very inconsistent. And I think this is why Newcastle, you can see, are in the position that they're in. This is why you can see that we're in the position that we're in as well. Willock's on for Tonali. Dave says, well, just remember, he's still banned at the City ground. Deloitte missing has made me mad. Oh, Grace. Well, Grace, you try, Grace, you try your best, but, Oh, Larmans. Oh, Larmans. Oh, Larmans, mate. What are you doing? Oh. Oh, United, come on. Just 3 points. 3 points. Ugarte's played well. I think Ugarte's been okay. I think Ugarte's had a better game. Newcastle have had 19 crosses compared to our 1 in the second half, by the way. This is not good. Go on, Xerxes. Xerxes done well there. Newcastle look like the home team. Newcastle are attacking at will. Nicaragua says, United is crumbling so bad. Just hold on to this messy 1-goal lead. For 3 sweet points, leave us fans on a high to the end of the year. This is why I keep saying I don't trust this team. The inconsistency in this team. This 1-0 win. Is 1-0 will be indicative of what we are this season. Newcastle at this moment. We said this in the preview, and I'm getting fucking annoyed with this side because we've spoken about this. If people go back and watch what we said about the game, they play down the wings. They are. John McQueen says, if we don't win, it's on Amorim. John, I'd find it very, very difficult to disagree with it. I am trying to make a case for the coach here, and hello, how's it going? We don't do much. Look, Muscat, United first half brilliant. I thought they looked fantastically well. We look terrible. We've gone back to what we do. We've gone back to what we do. Like Eddie Howe at the moment is schooling Amorim. Are you the Rizzler? No, I told you in the second half I had dropped. And Scott, mate, this is what we always do. That's great by Cunha. That's fantastic by Cunha. Oh, unlucky. I have to say Cunha as well has been good. What I really like, what I like from Cunha, what I like it from Cunha is he gives it his best. He drives. He gives it his best. Muscat says, "How do you rate the Dorgu goal?" Brilliant, mate. Dorgu has played well today. Dorgu's goal was brilliant. I would say Dorgu's goal, maybe not as good as Ahmad's goal, but I think it's up there. I'd give his goal at least a 7 or 8. Nice hands by Lamens there. Sadly, you will have to ride out his contract, but he won't be sacked. David, I mean, do I want Amorim to be sacked? I mean, no, I don't. I'm Amorim in. I'd probably call it more manager in. I don't want another manager sacked. Wisdom says, I'm from Kenya. Hello, my friend. Hope you're doing extremely well. Nicky says, Cunha is magic. Just wish his shooting was better. Cunha today's been brilliant. I like Cunha. Just the performances we get nowadays, decent to good 45 and claps to hanging on or chasing. Let's get said, for me, this match doesn't have the fire because there's no Fernandes. Disagree, mate. Disagree. But look, Muscat, one of the things that I do in here is I read the comments. I respect your opinions. I'm not disagreeing with your opinion. I have a different opinion to that. I think we've played better. Look, I tell you the reason why I disagree with you. It's on the basis that we play the same with or without Fernandes. I think we play with or without Fernandes. Muscat, I think we play the same. I don't think we're playing. I thought the first half was better than without Fernandes. This half is exactly the same with Bruno, in my view. This is exactly the same as if Bruno plays. I'm asking you what Bruno brings to this team. John says, I like Amorim, but his changes in this half avert us. But Muscat, mate, I'm not calling out your opinion, my friend. I promise you, I respect the opinion. I fully get that people don't have the same opinion as me, and I fully get it. I just think, for me, and this is my personal opinion, is that, as I've said there, I think we've played the same, and we're now playing with a back six. we're defending at home. We're playing with a back six, and we are playing at home. This is not on the players. This one, I'm very, very critical of players. I mean, we're playing with a back six, and we're inviting Newcastle onto us. And I don't disagree with you. Euro has come into this game, and I don't know what Amorim's doing here. Like I fully appreciate that we've got players out. Right, we've got players out, and he needs to rotate the squad. Right, I get it completely. Right, but I'm gonna say something, and I just want to make sure of something before I say this next comment. Is Luke Shaw coming off? No. I just want to make sure before I say the next thing. that is actually true. Where are we? Okay, not quite. I'll say it after the Wolves game. I'll say it now. So right now, I understand what Amorim is doing. What he's doing is because he needs a team for Wolves, right? We're struggling for players. He's trying to keep his players because we don't have enough players. So my comeback to that is this. The Glazers and Ineos, get your fucking hounds out of your pocket, look at this match, and go and get us players. Like, I'm suffering from, I'm sat here thinking, oh, we've got, we need players. And I'm sat here thinking, we need players, right? We've got to save these players because, we've got 2 or 3 games. African Cup of Nations, is on us. Players are injured. How are we going to survive? Ineos and fucking Glazer, get your hands out of your pockets. Look at this team. We desperately need players. Fucking desperately need players. We're bringing on fucking Malacia. We are bringing on Malacia. If we don't need players, we are bringing on a player who was out for best part of 2 years, right? And we are down to the bare bones that we now have to put on fucking Malacia. Are you joking? If Sir Jim and Ineos are looking at this match, you've got Mason Mount, who went off injured at half-time, Luke Shaw, who barely kicked a football for 2 years, Malacia, who was in the bomb squad, and now we're down to the bare bones that these fuckers won't even buy players to the point where Martinez has gone off, who was out, basically hasn't played football for 2 years. Luke Shaw barely played. Mason Mount was injured. And now fucking Malacia has come on. The Glazers need to put their hands in their pockets and buy players because this second half is not acceptable. It's not acceptable to have 20 crosses at home into your box. It's not acceptable for Newcastle to have 70% possession. It's not acceptable to play with a back 6 at home. And this back 6 is not on. This back 6 is not on the players. I'm very, very critical of these players at times. But I also say that this coach has to take the blame at times as well. This back 6 at home is unacceptable. You are at home and you're defending a 1-0 lead. It is fucking embarrassing. It is embarrassing. I want this manager to survive, and I guarantee you what will happen is I guarantee you 1-0 win today, you'll get other people that go, oh, this was fucking brilliant, this was great. It will put a shine on basically a turd again. And all people will say is that we've won. We are at home wasting minutes. We're telling players to go down. It is disgusting. This second half is absolutely disgusting. If we win this game, it's because Newcastle couldn't finish their fucking dinner. It is like Newcastle are the home team, and we're absolutely getting battered. We are now goosed every time a sub is made. Max Pack says Amorim out. I disagree with you. Disagree. Time wasting to the max. I would say I'm pretty disappointed in this match. Ronnie says we'll score the second one in the next 2 minutes. You are not a United fan, says Max. Max, I disagree, mate. Disagree. Look, Max, if that's aimed at me, mate, I disagree, Max. Disagree. I'm a massive fan, mate. I have been since 1988, so disagree. Slim says Leeds. David says, would you take an FA Cup early exit to focus on the league? Yes, Dave. Well, the thing is, David, would I? And the problem, David, for me, is that where do you hedge your bets, right? If you win the FA Cup, Europa League, right? If we focus on this league, I don't think that we're gonna get. I think we go between 8th and 10th. So, David, what I would do is FA Cup, Europa League, right? I would probably focus on that because I don't think we're going to get Champions League. But David, I think that's a fantastic question, mate. I think I would try to win the FA Cup. I do. Kuka says, hello, my friend. I hope you're doing extremely well. I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed. A win is a win, but I mean, right now we're fifth. We're on the same points as Chelsea and Liverpool. So if we win this match, it is a massive 3 points. It is. I'm not going to lie. It is a massive 3 points. It is a massive 3 points. The name is John. That's why they call me JB. But my first name, the first name is John. Some people call me John or JB. Or Jono. Any one of the three. Wisdom says Sue. Yeah. We just this back six. It's a gigantic 3 points. We've got to survive this. This is not good. How long have you been a fan? I've been a fan since 1988. So I've been a fan for 30 odd years. I refer to you as the handsome devil. Nikarutsu, you're far too kind. His name is Jai. His name is Jai. His name is John. His name is John Cena. Can't see me, mate. Definitely can't see me, buddy. Nikarutsu, mate, you're too smooth, mate. $37. Well, yeah, I know it's 37. Well, I mean, 40 years. Okay, I mean, well, hopefully I'm not going to die in the next, 3 years. So, Ronnie's been very accurate. Damn, sorry, I've been a fan for 7 years. Right now, I'm 12 years old. Wow, look, we will keep it clean, my friend, as you are only 12 years old. We will, gang. We've got a young person in, so we've got to keep it clean. Yeah, I've been a fan for 37 years, nearly 38. I'll be a fan 38 years in February or so. Yeah, I'm old. I'm older than you. What do you think of the Turkish Super League? Can Fenerbahce win the league? I don't know too much about the league, my friend. Rankon says, I've been a fan since 1967. My dad was Irish, so he was either Celtic or United. Look, I always say this. There are fans out there who've been supporting this club since 1967, mate. That is ridiculous. What's that, like 60 years? 58 years. Rankun, like, legend. Absolute legend. I bow down to you, mate. Absolute legend. 60 years of supporting a club is ridiculous, mate. So I salute you, my friend. Come on, Dorgu. Muskie says, it's okay, I'm used to it if you don't need to. I'm sure the lads heard much worse. Well, I'm a dad, so I've got to Chris says, I've been a fan since 1945. Jesus Christ, Chris. I mean, bloody hell, mate. That is ridiculous. Mate, Chris, that is unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable. Chris, mate. Chris, legend, mate. Chris, absolute legend, my friend. Since 1945. Mate, that is unbelievable. Dave says, I do think playing this game tonight is Liberty. Why not two clubs? Yeah, I agree with you. Wow. So, 1-0 win. Wow. Nick Rucci said there are 3 humongous points against the team that hoarded the ball. I may have got my maths mixed up. I mean, why is this team celebrating like they've won a fucking cup? I mean, look, we can quickly. We should call this channel the Coffin Dodger FC. Thanks, Scott. Scott's a young whippersnapper. Let's talk about the game. What can we say? Tom says yes, good win. Fabio says, yeah, what's the time in England? It is nearly 10 o'clock. Michael says we were really bad in the 70s as Liverpool ruled all things and with Emily and Hughes. Chris says 1985. Yeah, it's that's a bit of a difference, mate. Yeah, but look, still a legend. Nick Carucci says winning is winning. Where do you start? Look, well, I will do a match reaction. Second half, we should have look. Aaron. The problem with Newcastle, Aaron, right now is you can't bloody score. Newcastle have been very, very up and down all season. Tom's right. If Newcastle had have had a striker, you would have won that match. Did Newcastle deserve to have something out of the match? Yes, but you didn't. It's a massive 3 points. Massive 3 points. Glenn, I don't disagree with you. Second half, again, I don't understand. We are at home. Now, one of the things that's really, I think, has definitely stirred me up. Nick Caruso's right. I'll go into it in the reaction for the match, but I will. What has stirred me up more than anything else is that when I was away, I read the Fergie book, right? So I read, Fergie and what his mindset was at home and that sort of stuff. And it is unexcusable to me. It's unexcusable to me that when you go home, when we're home and we're winning 1-0, you go for the second, you go for the third. Because the problem with trying to, and I think this is a Portuguese league thing potentially. I think this is a very naive thing. Is that when you're at home with this club is built differently. We're not, and look, and when I say these names, this is not me trying to be disrespectful to these teams. This is me trying to convey what I believe that we are, right? Is we're not Leeds, we're not Burnley, we're not a Wolves. When we're at home, we do not score a goal and then defend. Why are we defending a 1-0 lead? It is baffling to me. It is not what this club does. And if you look, and again, I'm not harking back, but if you look at Busby, if you look at Fergie, and I know the 70s were shit, and the 80s partly was shit as well. But you don't do that at home, and this is why. This is why I think you're justified if you are hammering it out right now. I can see it, but I'm manager in because I think we need to do something different. But Amorim has to stop doing this. First half, expansive. I thought brave. I thought we played wide extremely well. I think he played a 4-3-3. He played this hybrid 4-3-3. It worked. United looked great. I thought Cunha was fantastic. And then the moment we changed the system, we're playing on the counter attack. I fully appreciate. I think as a fan base, we've got to fully appreciate we've got the AFCON. We've got players out injured. Mason Mount went off injured again. But my only caveat to that is why did this best in class go and buy another African player? Why we should now go out and buy players. This is precisely the reason why we needed more players. This is precisely why, when you still got the likes of a Casemiro who can't play a whole game, when you've got the likes of a Luke Shaw who dies off, this team is suffering from the mismanagement of this footballing side. Danny says, excellent result, JB. What a game from the men's and Heaven and Dorgu. I like Larman's, again, couple of the odd things, but again, some good saves. Heaven, I think Heaven's come into this and been fantastic. I think that I thought Dorgu was the man of the match. Spoiler alert, Dorgu was fantastic today. Danny says AFCON is no longer played mid-season after this, JB. I bloody hope not. JB, do you think we played better or worse without Bruno? I think we played the same. I think first half we attackingly played better. I think we played the same. I actually think we played the same. I think we showed today Bruno Fernandes adds nothing to this team. I tell you where Bruno Fernandes may add something to this team, and I will concede this, is if we need a moment, a world-class moment, you need Bruno Fernandes in this team. But if you're talking about a performance as a team, I don't think we played better or worse. I think we played the same. Let me go back to some of the chats. Go back up. Great news at a clean sheet. Newcastle rubbish up top, they were. Amin's tactics are still up for debate, or are we simply not trusting him enough? I think they're up for debate, mate. How can you go defensive at home? It's crazy. David says you get these kind of wins without Nana changes a lot of things. When we have our chances, we don't take them, says Aaron. Agreed, mate. A game is a game, is true. Reason Toast says excellent win. We've got injuries and players at AFCON. Take what we can, in my opinion. Agreed. Maybe says diabolical football from two shite sides, and they got 3 points. I think, as a summation, I think you're right. Muscat says, why is the Premier so competitive this season? I don't know, mate. I think football's changed. I think a lot of teams have managed to come up. I think a lot of teams have managed to go out now and buy, and are buying smarter. I actually think the scouting of lower teams like a Crystal Palace, of a Brighton, I think everyone else has caught up to basically the Brighton sort of the Brighton way. So I think scouting's better. Sally says Amorim set up right. That Euro change was questionable. I feel like we went for it first half and decided to defend. Second half players turned up today in terms of concentration. Agreed. I do agree with that. Fergie always said if you score one, then you go for the kill. 1-0 was never enough, says Ronnie. Agreed. Fergie had a team that could execute a win by more than one goal. Excellent result, yes. 100% Glazers Ineos need to step up. We concede at least 2 if Onana being your own goal. As an individual game, Amorim set up well. Players turned up second half subs. Questionable, made us shaky, but I think we decided to defend. We were never going to outscore Newcastle in an end-to-end game. Amorim in says, been decided. So look, guys, I'm not going to do a match reaction show. I don't know. I might do one tomorrow, actually. I'll probably do a match reaction show. So what I'll do tomorrow is I'll do a match reaction show. Tomorrow I'll do a sort of combined, joined show tomorrow. But look, before I go, getting your opinions about the match. Brad says this may be controversial, but I'm seriously starting to get frustrated with Cunha and how many stupid shots he takes. The goals will come, be trying to force it to us. Look, Brad, I agree. I think Cunha is used to scoring goals, right? I think Cunha is, and I think this is indicative of why Bruno Fernandes is like the player that he is, right? Is because Bruno Fernandes is trying to do everything. And I think that Cunha is getting frustrated with this team. Cunha today was brilliant. First half was absolutely fantastic. I do agree. He's doing a Bruno Fernandes. Instead of just saying, look, I'm not going to try and get goals. I don't need to. I'm going to start playing for this team and in this team, and the goals will come. Agree, Brad. Agree. I think that Cunha should take away the importance of scoring goals and just do what he did in the first half without trying to score goals. Because I know he's there to score goals. He can score goals, but leave that to the striker. Just be a player that pops up with 10 to 12 goals. You don't need to be scoring every single game. The goals will come. So I do agree. Cunha just needs better players around him, Herbie. So look, we'll do a quick match reaction now, and then I will go into it tomorrow. So I want you to give me your scores. Give me your scores. Tell me what you think about the players tonight. We'll go through the first half while it's fresh in the mind. So look, I thought first half, I thought we were brilliant. I thought Newcastle had their... I thought as a game, it was... Even though I thought we were better in the first half, it was still a very scrappy game in terms of, Newcastle, I don't think were prepared for how we came out. They had to change it very, very quickly. I thought that Newcastle were good in patches, but I thought overall we were the better team, hands down. Barney says that shirt brings back some great memories. Look, I agree with you. Barney. I love this shirt. I remember us playing with this shirt, and we had the blue socks from the other kit. But watch out, because I am going to get some more shirts as well. So watch out for those. And also as well, I just want to say this. If and when the channel gets to 30,000 subscribers, I will be giving away 3 shirts. So there's a site that I use. They have to be from that site. It's called Retro Shirts. I will be giving away three shirts. So the moment this channel, if and hopefully when it gets to 30,000 subscribers, I will do. Yes, it is. Herbie, it is. This is the Cantona kick shirt. And again, this website has pretty much got every shirt all the way up to the current shirts as well. So so I will be giving away some shirts. So stay tuned for that. Let me go through the chat before we go. Herbie says Cunha just needs we need too much. We have too many selfishness in our attackers where they need to be selfless in parts. Xerxes should focus on keeping the ball instead of falling down every time. Ugarte did okay, but just okay. Can't not kick yet. Jericho, would you agree with giving Roy Keane a go at management? No. And I should tell you for why. I don't think Roy Keane's style works. I don't think Roy Keane's style works anymore. JB, the handsome devil, thank you again for the stream. As always, take care. For bed and work tomorrow, take care. Nikarusu, mate, absolute thank you. You're an absolute legend, and I do appreciate you. Absolute legend, and thank you. Thank you, my friend. I will see you tomorrow. I do agree with Barney. I think Roy Keane isn't a manager. I don't think he is. I think what Roy Keane is, he's a very good observational person. And what I mean by that, his style worked as a player, agreed, but we are talking the 90s here. We're talking, when did he retire? 2003. So we're talking a player who retired 22 years ago. Roy Keane's style is playing style whose style doesn't work now. Roy Keane's playing style would work, but his attitude wouldn't work now. So Roy Keane was a fantastic player in his era. Was a fantastic player back in the day. I understand what you're saying. And I think when we talk about we need a Roy Keane type, what we need is a leader and somebody that takes on, the mantle. You have to do that now in a completely different way. You can't do it as Roy Keane led by fear. That's not going to work now. Wayne Rooney as manager, no. In my view, and look, I guys, get in your opinions, because I think these opinions are actually very, very, very good tonight. And really, it's a very interesting viewpoint, right? I don't want. The problem is, I don't want ex-players now. Unless one of our ex-players actually turns out to be a good coach, I don't want ex-players. But the problem for me is this. We need somebody who understands what this club is. And that's the problem. The problem for me is that we need somebody that understands the club. Amorim, I think, is learning about the club, but Amorim, the subs showed today, he doesn't quite get the club just yet, in my view. Roy was a man of his time. He couldn't deal with today's self-centered footballers. Herbie, mate, he'd be swinging clotheslines all over the shop. Barney says, proved with spells at Sunderland and Ipswich that he's not manager material. Outstanding players and love him. He can't manage. Barney, I do agree. Roy Keane would be like McTominay in the modern game, just more leadership. No, I think he's better. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Beans. I'm not going to disrespect the opinion. That's your opinion. Roy Keane is far superior to McTominay. Far, far superior. Look, I can see what you're saying, but McTominay couldn't go to Turin, grab the game by the scruff of the neck in a semi-final against one of Europe's best teams in Juventus, and basically drag us through the game. Sacrifice his placing in the final and basically rescue a tie. Scott McTominay could not do that. Scott McTominay, look, whilst I appreciate, and I know there's a thing around him right now because he's gone to the Italian league and he's doing well. Look, Roy Keane, I think people do not appreciate how good Keane was. So, I disagree. But, the game itself. So, first half, look, Dorgu for me, I thought was brilliant. Mason Mount was good. I thought we played Newcastle at their own game. Newcastle like to press high, like to turn over the ball really, really quickly, like to press. They're aggressive. I thought Newcastle's wing play was brilliant. They're far better at us on the wings. Gordon caused us problems. I really like Gordon, by the way. I thought he was really, really good today. I actually thought Heaven was very, very, very good. Martinez as well, I thought was great. Luke Shaw did okay as well. So I thought we were relatively comfortable first half. I thought we played some fantastic stuff. I liked the 4-3-3 hybrid. I disagree with you, Max. I don't think Shesko was shit at all. I thought Shesko was a fantastic foil. I thought Shesko, what he did extremely well today, and I think people miss this. Shesko's today, his winning the first ball and getting that ball down and allowing, and Shesko is quick as well. So what Shesko did extremely well today, the ball was pumped up to Shesko. He wins the ball, shields it very, very well, spins, and as he brings players into the game, he spins off and joins the attack. I thought Shesko was fantastic today. I really like Shesko today. Cunha was good today. Mason Mount was good today. Daniel, look, and again, guys, I read your opinions out because I respect your opinions. If I sort of not come back, but if I may give you a different opinion at times, but that is just my opinion. So look, I thought Shesko was good. I didn't think Shesko was bad. Mason Mount was good. Cunha was good. Dorgu was good. Delo was okay. Ugarte, I thought, played okay as well. Casemiro was fine. So look, I thought that the whole team as a whole was good. I do agree with Herbie. I think Shesko does need to toughen up. But other than that, I thought Shesko was okay. And then we'll get on to the second half. Any player who played with Keane said he was the best player. Shesko was shit. What happened to us in the second half, we just camped in our half. Second half, so look, first half, I thought we were brilliant. So, if you were Tulip Play says, hey JB, Tulip, I hope you're doing extremely well and legend of this chat. So, look, if you were scoring players, Shesko is good but needs to be much more selfish. Daniel, this is where I agree with you, right? And this is where I think that we need another striker. Because if you had an Osimhen in this team, if you had a more experienced striker, they would be screaming at these players. We would be screaming at these players, saying, give me the ball. Shesko is not of an age yet, and he's not of the confidence, Daniel. And I agree with you. Shesko needs to be more vocal. Shesko needs to be hounding these players and saying, give me the ball. Give that ball to feet. I want the ball. And that's the problem. That is the problem. Shesko has been good, just needs a few more goals. His confidence and being without that contributes to the team. Chip says, wait, how is opponent 100%? So is definitely a club legend. His critiques helped accelerate training complex improvements too. We should have bought Osimhen 2 years ago. Don't disagree with that completely. I do agree with that. So, first half. So if I was going to score the first half, how old am I? I am 42 years old. So you know, I'm more in the mature side. He says, I'm glad Martinez wasn't playing in midfield. We need 2 world-class midfielders, not an injury-prone 5'9" defender. Agreed, mate. I will say this though, I'm glad the Butcher's back. I think so far I've been proved wrong. When I say I've been proved wrong, I was a bit sceptical whether he could come back into the team and do well. I think he's come back. I think he's come back, and I think he's actually done extremely well in the team. So I'm really, really pleased for him. First half, look, if we were to score players on the first half, Lamens, I thought he didn't really have tons of stuff to do. You give him a 6 or 7. Luke Shaw again, steady 6. You'd give Heaven probably a 7. JB, have a look at CM called Pablo Barrios for Atleti. I know the player. Hidden gem, get him now or he'll cost a lot more. I have seen the player. What is the question? Is CR7 a United legend? Yes. Yes. And the reason why I've asked the question is because somebody on here basically said that he's not a legend. So I was just basically asking the question. You know, I think the context of the question was more so that there are players who were here for longer that won more than Cristiano, and Cristiano probably won more away from us. But it was an interesting point about, is he a legend compared to some of the other legends? And I just thought that was an interesting question to ask. I'm 37. We've seen the same at United, but I disagree. Martinez should have been DM today. I really like Shesko and do think he will be a big asset to us, but Shesko right now isn't clinical enough and the service to him isn't helping. Unlike Haaland and Xerxes, Shesko's pace and hold up means even if he doesn't score, he can help us. And Tulip, that's what I saw today. That's one of the things that I saw today that I like. It's one of the things that I saw at like. Is this. Exactly as you say, I like the fact that Xerxes won the first ball, is very strong and brought other people into play. But I do agree, look, if he gets goals and that as well, I liked what he did today. Daniel says, CR7 is not a United legend at all. He had one good season and then cry and go to Madrid. And again, this is why I asked the question, right? Is because it fascinates me because I guess from my perspective, I've seen so many players, I've seen so many legends. Because somebody mentioned it, I thought it was an interesting question to ask on the basis that I wonder what more modern fans or younger fans think. And actually what some older fans think as well. So I think it's a really interesting view. Chip says, one good season is crazy. He had many great seasons. What do you think about Messi or Ronaldo? I'll always say this, Messi is a gift. Cristiano is the epitome of hard work. So Cristiano has a talent. There are many, many people in life that have a talent. If you look at the amount of players that have come to the Premier League, that JB says, on a flyer, hope you and the family have had a good Christmas, JB. Scott, if you're in the chat. So, Jackie, mate, it's been amazing, and back at you, my friend. I really, really hope you had a good Christmas, my friend. Look, there were many players out there who've never lived up to the hype. Cristiano lived up to the hype, and some. Lionel Messi is a gift. Lionel Messi is one of those players who is just destined to be the best player. Shuja King Khan says Bruno would be so good for Madrid. It's good for Vinny, Mbappe, and Bruno as well. He needs to win trophies now. Come on, look. I'm happy for Bruno to go. I am happy. Only Rooney came close to Ronaldo as much as I've seen in football. Messi. I think Ronaldo was on a different level to Rooney. Rooney, don't get me wrong in this. Rooney is a legend. Rooney was a world-class player. Rooney was an absolute legend, right? But you get world-class players, and this is just my humble view, right? You get world-class players, right? So you got your Zidanes, you got your Henrys, you got your, you can have your Alan Shearers, you can have your Harry Kanes, you can have your, Romarios, etc. You can, I don't know even if you class R9 in there, but every so often you get players who are world class, but you get players who are just above, right? And look, I don't disagree. Look, you people can people can disagree with me, because that is the beauty. I'm not saying that my view is the epitome of views. This is just my humble view, and look, you guys have different views, and that's the one thing I like about this channel. It's important you guys have your views, right? And I'm not going to disagree, but my view is this. In football, and when we're talking about players, right? Rooney to me is a legend. Right? There were times where Rooney was unplayable. Rooney at some point in this squad was better than Cristiano, right? Rooney, if you're looking at Rooney's career, very, very consistent player. Cristiano was as well. Rooney was an absolute amazing player. But in life, you do get players that are world class, but then you get players who are just above. And I would class Pele, Maradona, Lionel Messi, Cristiano, in my humble view, as those players who transcend football, who are just icons. You could argue that you could put people like Cruyff in there. You could put people like R9 in there, Zidane even. Those sorts of players. But for me, I don't think people like Zidane transcends football to the levels that they did. I think, in my humble view, I think the only true transcenders of football are Maradona, Pele, Ronaldo, and Lionel Messi. You can disagree with that. Completely disagree, but there are very few players, in my view, that reach a almost a godlike level. And I think that those for me are probably the only four you can say. But for me, I think when you look back and you think about the best footballers ever lived, Maradona, Pele, Cristiano, Lionel Messi. Hobie says, as a footballer, Zidane over CR7, and I think football is one of those wonderful things whereby if you think, for example, that, I don't know, some Wolves player is the greatest player of all time, that's fine. I think football for me is very personal. I don't dislike that. That is just my view. But I think the beauty of football is that we can all just disagree. Daniel says George Best, but look, I'm not just talking about United players, right? But George Best was an absolute fantastic player. Iniesta, Xavi, Iniesta and Xavi for me, I don't think they transcend football. I think they were world-class, fantastic players. And again, Dino, mate, I'd have no objection if people said like Zidane was up there, Iniesta was up there, Xavi was up there, R9 was up there. I get it completely, but I just think that there are just certain players out there who they're just more. Bestie, for example, George Best. You can argue Cantona, right? You can argue Cantona, but I think Cantona for me, I think some players are club specific. I think Xavi, Iniesta are Barcelona specific players. Again, you can argue that they won a World Cup, but I still think there are just players out there who just transcend all that. But look, that's just my view. That's just my opinion. Let me go through some of the chats. Sandeep Das says you're waffling, mate. Sandeep, well, I think you've probably found, mate, 28,500 subscribers do care. Sandeep. So Sandeep, the two words, Sandeep, I just have to say to you, one of them rhymes with duck and the other one is off. So, Sandeep, if you don't like it, mate. George Best, Cristiano is proven in 4 different clubs in Europe. Top clubs, Messi never did that. Ronaldo dominated all leagues. Messi didn't. That's a big take. Thoughts about that? Also on pitch, Cristiano could do things like score from distances. Crazy headers. What Christmas present did you get, Isaac? What did I get, mate? I got some socks. I got like body sprays, aftershaves. Terry Wrist says plastic. What's plastic, Terry? Your mother's dildo? Don't know, mate. Don't know, Terry. You need to tell me, Terry. You need to basically tell me what's plastic. What's plastic? Your butt plug? Don't know, mate. I prefer Letitia. Herbie. Letitia, I absolutely loved him. I thought he was brilliant. Letitia was absolutely an amazing player. Some people just don't like Cristiano, but objectively he's a legend. Yes, but Cristiano had one good season. What do you think of Cunha's race? So I think Cunha's performance today was a tale of two halves. I thought first half he was brilliant. I thought second half it's difficult. it's difficult. You look like Nedved. Cantona is more of a legend in CR7. We get it, Daniel. You don't like Cristiano. Won't change the fact he's a legend. JB with Semenyo looking unlikely. What CM should we focus on in January? Tulip, I think Tulip. I think we need to go get some squad players. If we can't get our first choice, I think we need to go get some squad players. So I think we need to go and get like a Neves, a Gomez. I think we need to be focusing on those sorts of players. Did you watch Avatar, JB? Do you mean Avatar as in one of your edits? And listen, anybody gets a chance for Tulip plays, go and watch your edits because they're brilliant. So look, when you get in the PS5, JB, what Christmas present did you give to your family, mate? Isaac, I give about 300 presents, mate. By the time I bought my wife a necklace, perfume, slippers, not cheap slippers, by the way. Spa day, and then obviously the kids got all their presents. JP, you cooked him. I have a serious problem with me. I'm a Real Madrid fan, but why I don't enjoy United. I enjoy a few clubs like Newcastle, Benfica, Arsenal, City, but what could be the problem? The problem is that we don't play good football. The problem is that we are not good to watch. I think right now only a United fan watch this team. Letitia is a bigger Prem ledge than Ronaldo. Semenyo is never a possibility. We have Mbeumo and Ahmad there. It's just everyone. But look, if you watch the channel for a while, I don't go into clickbait. I've been saying on here Semenyo isn't coming, and I've been saying that for the longest time. I've never believed he was coming. Channels do it for clickbait. I've not participated in it. Semenyo has never been coming, and I will say this until I'm blue in the face. In my opinion, right now is Gallagher or nothing. We have at least 65 in the bank. If we sell Xerxes, we have enough to get a quality DM. Start watching Premier League. You suggest me to watch it, and I want to thank you for that. I used to follow on the La Liga, but Premier League is one hell of a ride. Crazy matches. Look, mate, the Premier League is one of the most competitive leagues. How much do you think you've spent on presents this Christmas, Isaac? How much have I spent on presents this Christmas? Well, considering there was a trip, so there was a trip to Finland, there was a trip to Lapland, loads of presents, probably quite a bit, probably quite a bit of money. I'm not going to tell you the price, but it's quite expensive. Avatar 3 good films, bit long though. Second half dragged on a bit. Avatar, I've seen the first one. Got bored of the second one. I need to sit down and watch the second one, and I do need to see the third one. Good win today. Good win. Bloody hell. Good win. Good with United. Sort of. Do you think Inzaghi could handle City if Pep left? Also, what do you think could be a replacement for Pep? I think Man City are in a very fortunate position whereby Mark Goldbridge was a Fed. Yep. He was, he was Mick. I don't know too much about him. I'm not fed, mate. I don't know, mate. I think Man City are in a very fortunate position where whoever manager they get, they can afford to buy in players. So I don't know. I don't know if Inzaghi would be the right fit. Don't know, mate. Five figures. I'm guessing 10k. No. I wish, mate. No. It wasn't as much as 10k, mate. What guy was a fed? Look, I don't know, mate. I don't know. So second half. So look, I'll go through. I'll go through the scores afterwards. Herbie says I'm fed up. I know that much. Herbie, love it, my friend. Class. So second half. Much as the same. Well, actually, I say that we started off awful. Newcastle basically pounded us. JB, what a difference a keeper that can catch a ball. Chilip, we said it. Larmans, we said it all summer. Larmans looks like a steal. Larmans looks like an absolute bargain. So second half, Newcastle from the start were battering us. We couldn't get out. Dan Fletcher was the real winner today with both his boys in the squad. Anyone can win apart from Wolves. Started watching Premier League. You should, yeah. Thanks, mate. I did. Second half, we were awful. Abjectly terrible. I don't know. I don't know what happens. Many of you have said that Amorim's team talk at half time must just be absolutely, I don't know, how bad must Amorim's team talks be at half time for us to come out? So we come out. I think our plan was to come out, get a second goal, and then defend. And then Amorim does. I think Amorim does probably some of the most indefensible things. No, he then went back to a back three. Dorgu I thought was fantastic today, and then he sort of stifled it. He then went to a back three negative, and then basically Amorim then went to a back three and defended a 1-0 lead. It was like we were the away team who'd scored first, and then we were being attacked by the home side. It's negative football. I get that what Amorim is trying to do here, and I think this is quite clear. I think it's quite clear that Amorim is basically trying everything he can to get points on the board. I don't think this is Amorim's football. I think this is survival football that Amorim thinks he has to play to keep his job. Because at home, you need to be brave. You need to be attacking. And I think this is why. And Herbie, I don't know, Herbie, if this is lack of knowledge of our style of play, whether we don't have a style of play, whether Amorim doesn't understand United fully. We don't have the players right now. Now, I did say that Amorim has to think about games, has to think about the next game because we are short on players. But we've been playing this all season, so there's no difference. So when we had a full contingent of players, and now we don't, we play exactly the same. So my argument is actually flawed because I absolutely get that we've got players missing, players injured and players out. But we were playing like this when we had them in the squad. So right now it's still these players. I don't trust these players. But when you mix in a coach who is, I don't know what you get from game to game, from minute to minute, from half to half, I struggle. But as Tulip Play says there, look, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to go into it too much. We won. I will score the players, but look, at the end of the day, we won. 3 points is 3 points. But as Tulip Plays, it can't be like this. But the problem for me is that it is like this every single game. Every single game is like this. And I wonder at what point the turning point will be for us. For it becomes the normality, as you guys have said there. When does it become the normality whereby we're scraping wins like this, where we play well in the first half, hoping that we score goals, and then we drop off in the second half? When does it become the normality for us to be winning games, and then we only lose if a team is playing extremely well? So I think Tulip has hit the nail on the head there. But look, second half, Newcastle batter us. I thought Gordon was brilliant. There was a shot from, I can't remember his name now. It hit the crossbar. I mean, the crossbar was the man of the match. Newcastle just pounded us. I couldn't make a joke about being pounded, but I'm not going to do that. And I thought we were very, very lucky with a win. But look, a win is a win. Is a win. There is not too much to say about it. And Tulip Play says as well there. 100% an absolute shout out today. And one of the positive things for me that has come out of this period is the fact that Amron is having to play the youth and having to bring on these players. And as Tulip Play says there, right, big shout out to young players. You've got the fact that you've got these young players who've come into this side. You've got both Fletcher boys in this squad, which I think is absolutely fantastic. You've got 2 young players that come on. It's brilliant. And for me, I think that is probably the most positive thing that has come out of this completely. Is I thought bringing on these young players purely because he sort of has to. They've come onto this pitch and they've won a game. So you've got a youth players who've actually come in to this team and they've won, and they've helped this team win. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So I'm really, really pleased. I'm pleased in terms of, look, we needed to play the youth. We played some youth, and brilliant. Today was a win for us, but today was a win for the youth. So I absolutely applaud the youth today. Brilliant, fantastic. So look, second half, shit show again, bag of shit. I'm almost numb to us playing crap. Second half was awful. As Tulip Play says there, this cannot continue. We're inconsistent. We will remain inconsistent. But look, in a game that I thought that we draw, let me go to the fixtures. So fixtures wise, right now, so Newcastle was a win. We've now got Wolves at home, Leeds away, Burnley away, Brighton at home. We've now got a run of games we can jump on the back of. Wolves should be a massive win. Leeds should be a win as well. Burnley should be a win. And Brighton, we're at home in the FA Cup, so that really doesn't count. But look, we've got the next three games. If we win those 3 games, whether I like it or not, that puts us up there into top 4 or 5. So again, I think we've been very, very lucky. I think we've been very, very fortunate to be in this position. But do I trust these players? No. So now these players, if these players want to save this season, now is the time to do it. If we drop a single point in these next 3 games, forget about it. It's done and dusted. Let me go through some of these chats. Blah, 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 blah. Shows much of a difference can you made for Wolves? Exactly. We can't deny that CR7 is a legend, but I just hate his last behaviour. So selfish, and he doesn't behave like a legend. I think Amorim lacks belief in these players, hence the strange decisions. Herbie, I agree because I lack belief in these players as well. I want to ask, why does the Premier League teams have better transitions compared to teams like La Liga? They're so good both in defensive and offensive transitions. Just wondering why. Because I think the Premier League is more intense. I don't know whether it was by luck or by design. Whatever's happened, the Premier League has just over the years it's just more competitive. I think there's more money in the Premier League. So I think what has happened is this: more money has gone into the Premier League, which has been able to filter down into teams. And I think teams are just able to build better facilities, better training facilities, get better players, better scouting, and it's just become faster, physical. I think this is why it takes players time to adjust in Premier League, is because I think ultimately, you need to be fitter, faster, physical player first, and then a football player second. That's why if you go to Spain, I think they're better football. I think they're better from a technical standpoint, but I think as athletes, and I think as an overall, whether you like the style of play or not, I think when you play in the Premier League, players from the Premier League, in terms of physical and speed and that sort of thing, I think are better. But I do think, for example, the Spanish league is more of a technical league. We got in front whilst on top, then dragged back and sat in to defend and got 3 points. MMA talks as United are shit. We're not great. At least Amorim has shown that he can adapt a little. Hey, are you happy with this performance? Obviously, the result was good. Are we missing? And we're missing players. Newcastle looked surprisingly toothless. I am happy with the 3 points. I'm disappointed with the performance. I take on board that we were missing players. My only caveat to that was we played exactly the same when we had those players playing. I'd actually argue in the first half, I think we played better. We played well in previous games and lost. I'll take the ugly win. Twitch says, I think it's going to go on like this with Amorim until he gets 3 wins in a row. Shout out to the youth. Yeah, I agree. Can't wait for you to rate Xerxes. He was playing like he played a full 90. Hopefully pull loose so we can keep 5th. At least the youth is getting some minutes. These youth players didn't look scared at all. Heaven was crucial to our clean sheet. With Martinez, Malaysia spawned of the gulag. I love it. Someone forgot he was still in the team, but at least they trust them enough to put them on when we're still hanging on. Leeds are playing well. I do agree with you. Graham says, I'm just letting you know I've sacked 3 of the Mockelmeisters today because they're acting the goat. Graham, legend. Well done to United. I'm an Arsenal fan and I hate Newcastle. These players need to take notice. Amorim made the right call benching Euro. Euro has to come on, prove himself, and we get a clean sheet in the absence of Maguire and De Ligt. I thought Mount done already. So let's go through the scores. Let me get my little thingy up. That sounded completely wrong. Let me get my team up. So what do we reckon today? So I think for me, Le Mans, and guys, get in your opinions. As I always say, it doesn't mean my opinion is right. I'm going to do my scores out of 10. 6 being an average score. So I fully expect these players most of the time to to get a 6. Well, 6 being an average. I want these players to score a 7 for most of the time. Let me go into it. Here we go. So, Le Mans' second clean sheet. He has to be announced. Had more confidence today. I don't that clean sheet. I'm not going to get over the top with these players just because we won. But we've got to consider the first half, consider the second half as well. So for me, I think Le Mans today, without over egging the pudding, Harry says, are United having a good season or other big clubs not playing well or both? I think, Harry, it is a competitive season. I think it is a competitive season, but what I will say this is that what's going to happen now is the Premier League table, the good Premier League teams will now start to move away from teams like us. So what I mean by that is I think at the moment, the best teams in the league are Man City, Arsenal, Aston Villa. United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Sunderland, Palace, etc. I think are the best of the rest. And I think we're all going to be fighting out for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So I think right now, Villa, City and Arsenal are streets ahead. And I think they're the best of the rest. So I just think it's a very, very competitive season. Do any of you guys miss Onana? No, I don't miss him at all. Xerxes was absolutely awful tonight. Nobody misses Onana. Got a play, 43-1. Shaw, Lissandro, De Ligt, Mazraoui, Mainu, Casemiro, Cunha, Bruno, Imbermo, Shesko up front. Then Mount, Ahmad, Yoro, Heaven, Delo coming from the bench. Mason Mount to me is, sorry mate, I don't rate Mason Mount anymore because I can't. So let's go through the lineup. So I think Le Mans for me, look, Le Mans made some good stops. Clean sheet. I'm not going to over-egg it. I think you can argue 7.58. I think for me 7.5. I think his positioning is good. I'm really happy the way he's taken to the Premier League. He made some good saves today. I think you can argue at 7.5 to an 8. I think if we'd conceded, you'd have to bump him down, but I think you bump him up today. So I think 7.57. Martinez for me, not perfect, but again, coming into the squad, I think he looks lively. I think you guys in the chat were right. I think I've got it completely wrong on him. Hopefully he stays fit. I thought you could argue he was a 7 today as well, and I'll tell you why. I'll score him a 7 as well. The only thing, obviously, he's not tall enough to be a defender, but I think he's very, very quick. And what he lacks in height, he makes up in tenacity. And I think he makes up for it in just his influence on the team. Stretford Ender says, great result today, but United don't have the players to dominate a side like the Geordies. Having big positive tonight. Dorgu better on the right. Great goal. Agreed, absolutely agreed completely. You're right, we don't have the side now. We don't have the players to dominate a midfield like that either. So Martinez for me was a 7. Heaven for me today. Look, I'm going to give Heaven. If we conceded last time, you said there's no points in ifs. If it's that what happened that matters. It's true, right? But it's ifs and buts, right? If we conceded, which he didn't, you'd have to dock him points, right? But because he didn't concede, so for me, right, if for example you do the exact same thing, but one results in something positive, and one results in something that's a negative, then I think you have to get scored up or down. So in this instance, I think Lamens has made better saves in certain games. Or you look at the Bournemouth game, right? The Bournemouth game, for example, right? I think I scored Lamens an 8 in that game, even though he conceded 4, right? Old City, mate, fuck off, mate. There you go, done. So I think if you do something positive or the same thing in a positive way, then you should get scored up. So against Bournemouth, I scored him an 8 because of the sales that he made. Now in this game, he didn't make as good a saves, but I thought positionally he was great. He did make some saves and he got a clean sheet. So I think a 7.5. Heaven for me today, young player who's been brought back into this squad. He's been out for a little while. One of the things about Heaven that I really, really, really like is a lot of players at that age, their head would drop. His head hasn't dropped, and I think he is developing again into a very, very dependable, very good player. And I think today you could probably go for a 7.5 or an 8 today on the basis, look, clean sheet, young player, been brought back into this side, and I think he's doing a fantastic job. Luke Shaw for me today, I don't think he did anything particularly wrong. I think Luke Shaw today, you could argue 6.57. Simon says, good evening to you and Merry Christmas. Simon, good evening, my friend. I hope you're doing extremely well. I think Luke Shaw today, you can argue a 6.57. I wouldn't disagree with either. I think that Luke Shaw for me was a 6.5. I still think he gets caught out. I still think that he's not particularly quick, but he does do things that are really, really good. When he's facing defenders, and those defenders are slower and they're not attacking at pace, when he gets into position, I think he's extremely good. So I think for me, 6.5. So I says, I hope you had a good Christmas, mate. I did. It was absolute chaos, and I hope you had a very, very good Christmas as well. Heaven was a very press resistant today. Calm and collected. Shaw was good. Blocked more crosses than Delo, who was a 5. Yeah. So look, I actually thought today, Lamens, Yoro, Martinez, Shaw actually played quite well. So you could give 7s across the board. 7.5. I think Heaven for me, I would be tempted to give him an 8 because I just thought he was fantastic today. Delo today, when you're talking second half performance as well, he did miss quite, he did miss that shot, but again, he's not a striker. You always worry about him. I don't think the guy at times couldn't cross a road, right? I think today for me he gets between a 5.5 and a 6. For me today, did he have an average performance? I think we've got to win. I think if you were being kind, you could give him a 6. I think if you're being realistic, I think that's a 5.5 performance, but I accept either. Dorgu today for me, Dorgu, right? One of these players, and I do believe, and I think you're right, he was playing more as a winger today, right? Dorgu, for me today, another young player who's been fucking criticised. Dorgu has been absolutely bastardised. He's been criticised. He's been absolutely destroyed in this fan base, right? He's a young guy. What we always do with our young players, and I know he's been here a year, and these players, young players, get absolutely lambasted. They get absolutely annihilated, right? He's a young guy. And I'm not just saying on the back of one game he's going to be the best player. But today, I really liked what he did today. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. I thought he tore Newcastle at times apart. Absolutely roasted them at times with his pace and his power. And if he could do that every game or consistently, he would walk into that squad. So for me today, I'm going to give him a 9. And the reason why I give him a 9 is because we won the game. I thought his tenacity was absolutely brilliant. I thought he was consistent through the entire game. He suffered from Amorim's decision to play a back fucking 6 at a point. But doggy for me today, the way that he took his goal, the way that he played for me was a 9. Ugarte was okay. Ugarte was okay. You know, you could score him 6.5, 7. I'd score him 6.5. I think he had a slightly above average game. I thought he was steady tonight. I thought he was decent tonight. You know, tenacity wins the ball back. I like what he did in there tonight. And again, I would settle for that Ugarte as a stand-in. If we got that every week, maybe a level up slightly, I would be happy with that. Casemiro, again, I thought he did have a good first half. Steady Eddie, 6.5 again. You know, we're always going. We're always going to get run through. The way that we play that pivot, the way we play through the midfield, we're always gonna concede. Look, you know, look, again, you can argue 7. I'm not going to disagree with a 7. I would still go 6.5. Look, 6.5 for me is an average score, right? Do I think Ugarte played above an average today? No. Do I think Ugarte did anything that was above an average? No. You could argue maybe he was slightly over an average. You could go a 6.5, a 7, fine. And I'd go for Casemiro as well. You know, you could go for 6.5s, 7, but you've got to consider the second half as well. Cunha today, I think Cunha, it was a tale of two halves for Cunha. I thought first half he was absolutely phenomenal. First half I would have given him an 8 in the first half. I thought his link-up play was brilliant. Some of the things he did were fantastic. At one point I just thought he was just taking the piss. I just think it was absolutely fantastic. And then second half, and again, second half, I thought he tried a bit too hard. He does like to shoot when he should pass. Have to score them down for the second half, whether or not it was their fault or not. Tactically, second half, I don't blame the players. I think they did what they were told. But again, have to score them down. Second half wasn't as good because of the system. So I think Cunha today for me was a 7. You could score that down. Shesko, I really like what he did. And I know many of you want Shesko to be banging in hat-tricks, scoring in, 20 goals a season. It will come. But one of the things that I liked today about what he did was the centre-forward play. Is when you hold up that ball, when you do what he did in that game, and you win the first ball, you header it down to Cunha or Mount, you spin off, and you start the attack. I thought he did that today fantastically well. I admit his movement in the box needs to be slightly better. I think he needs to anticipate better. I think his confidence could be better. But I like that performance today. He came off at 60 minutes. So I think today's Šeško for me was a 7 today. I really like that. And I actually think we're a better team than Šeško's playing up front. Mason Mount for me, judging on the first half, 6.5 to 7. Thought Mason Mount did some really good stuff today. I really liked him. Based on the first half, he wasn't part of the second half. 6.5, 7 for me. I think it's such a shame with Mason Mount. I think it's such a shame. I just don't trust him. You can't trust him. So, today 7. I don't know when he's going to come back. I don't know what the injury is. I don't know how bad it is. But look, if Mason Mount is injured, done. So yeah, I agree. I think Mason Mount today for me was a 6 or a 7. Fletcher. Look, Fletcher came on at 46 minutes. Did Fletcher set the world on fire? No. A young player like Fletcher coming into this side against a very good side, he gets a 7 from me all day long. I'm not going to go up by an 8, and I'm not going to over egg it and go, oh, he's going to get an 8 or a 9 or a 10. 7. Straight off the bat, 7. You come into this team at that age, at half time, 7 all day long. Brilliant. Euro for Casemiro. Euro struggled again today. I don't know what's going on. Look, it's really difficult for you players who are not getting consistency in this team. There's something about Euro Amorim doesn't like. Was he great? No. I would probably give Euro a 5.56. I think, look, I'd give him, you could argue 5.5, argue a 6. You could probably score him up on the fact that he kept a clean sheet. Xerxes. Look, I'm not going to be too harsh on Xerxes. Look, Xerxes for me, a 5. What does Xerxes do? He had like half an hour. Look, Xerxes to me, what is he supposed to do? Right? He needs the game time. Amorim doesn't particularly want to play him. I think Xerxes wants to go. I think Xerxes is doing a job for the team. Xerxes should go. Like if I'll keep what I'm going to say, because Xerxes suffers from some of the stuff I'm going to say next. So Xerxes for me a 5. Malacia, I'm going to bring into this as well. Malacia 6. Fredrickson 6. So look, Amorim today, what does he score today? Amorim today, very lucky. First half, great performance, set it up extremely well. Second half, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't get second half. So for me today, if we're scoring, if a 6 is an average, I would have to say, begrudgingly on this occasion, I'd have to give him a 6 because we didn't lose. I'd say the first half was an 8. Second half, you could argue, was a 5. I don't know if you do 8 plus 5 is 13 divided by 2, 6.5. So 14. So if you divide, so if you do 8 plus 5 is 13. Divided by 2, that's an average of 6.5. Amorim today for me doesn't get a 6.5 because I don't believe it was an above average performance. So I would score him 6. So And I think for me that's a very, very lucky 6 as well, by the way. So I would say Amorim today was a 6. So the one thing I wanted to touch upon really was the Xerxes Malacia thing, right? And also the players thing as well, which I mentioned in this, is that what the fuck are we doing? Xerxes hasn't played and wants to go. Malacia, I cannot believe it is an absolute abject failure in this team that we've got Luke Shaw, who basically didn't play for the best part of 2 years, decided to go to a Euros, get fit for that, but then was out. Malacia was out for the best part of a year and a half, was in the bomb squad, and has actually played and got some minutes. And the interesting thing about that is Malacia, and I want this to sink into your heads for a second, right? Malacia replaced Luke Shaw. How fucked up is that? Malacia, who shouldn't be here, Luke Shaw shouldn't be here, and Malacia is replacing Luke Shaw. And so it is absolutely incredulous. Xerxes, who, I'm sorry, I think Xerxes now has to go. He doesn't want to be here. And I get it right now, he has to play. But he needs to be sold. You've got the Butcher who's coming back, and whilst, look, I like the Butcher, I really, really do, we are relying on a player that was out, has been out pretty much for 2 years, to come back into the squad. Why are people not questioning this? Why are people not questioning this? No wonder there is, and as you say there, Simon, the bench is so weak. Why is our bench weak? It's just today we are dragging ourselves across the line. You know, I actually today do not blame the players today. I do not blame these players today. I think these players did everything they could today. I think this is the level that we're at. I actually do not blame the players today. Today is the letdown of this club. I think today is a letdown of Amorim. I'm not saying that Amorim sabotaged this team, but Amorim today, negativity, I think because he's looking to the next game. But it just, for me, that just goes to show how disgusting this club is. These owners who are unwilling to sell some of the, look, the fact that Malacia is still playing is I don't have the words for it. So look, today I actually think the players themselves walk away today with a little bit of pride. I still can't stand them. I still don't like this team. But I think for the first time today, for me, these players walk away with a little bit of pride. Amorim needs to go and have a little think about it, because Amorim nearly cost us this win today. So look, let me go on to some of these chats before I go. Simon says, a nice Xmas present, 3 points, clean sheet, and up in the top 5. My Xmas wasn't too bad. Selvis Space says, Delo is pretty bad at defensive crosses as always. Toss up for me, man of the match or Lorenzo Dorgu. So I'm going to give Dorgu for the man of the match. We won 4-1 last time. United should sell Delo and get Vanderson, international from Monaco. What is the severity of Mount's injury? I don't know. Someone said it was a weak bench. It was. He's been criticised because he's not good. And look, I don't disagree with you. I am not disagreeing that I criticise players on here as well. But it's the young players. Dorgu is what, 20? How old is Dorgu? Dorgu is like how old's Dorgu? Dorgu 20, 21 years old. Patrick Dorgu is 21 years old. Right? Just turned. And yet we're expecting him to be world class already. Look, the criticism is there, right? But what is he supposed to do? Simon says we saw a rare sight of Malacia, Noah Langer tonight. Dorgu 8.5 for me. It was a ripper of a goal. It was fantastic. Ugarte was good. He covered a lot of ground. He defended well. 7.5. Bro, just stop putting caps. Newcastle were all over us at some point. I could feel a goal coming. Ugarte ended his 7-game losing streak. Finally, we won a game. We could have started a Euro. Shaw was running out of steam. I thought it was all the eczema scrub and booze. I reckon Luke Shaw was smoking as well. Xerxes was awful. 35 minutes. They did nothing. Euro was not good versus Villa. No, not good tonight too. Almost cost us a goal within a minute. Malacia didn't exactly do much. No. Mount 6.57. The injury was unfortunate. We should have never spent 50 million. I do agree with you. Does anyone know about Mount's injury? We did not need another injury. That makes the hole in the midfield even bigger. Simon, these owners need to get their fingers out of their pockets. Malacia played 5 minutes, my friend. Yeah. I can't wait until Mbeumo and the two others get back. Xerxes was the worst player on the pitch. Grimsdale and goal had a slight injury and Pope was all set to come on. Finally, our fourth attempt, we got top 5 above the Scousers. At least we saw one of the Fletchers coming on. We did. Malacia had an ACL injury for a year. It's very hard to recover from that. And look, I don't like to see players injured at all. But my only comeback to that is we're not a charity. Like, Malacia had an injury. I feel badly for him. Why do I care? Like, we are not a charity. Like, people talk about these players like they have an ACL, right? That's awful. I don't wish that on anybody, and I hope all players that get those sorts of injuries come back. But that is part and parcel of playing the sport. There are many players better than him. For example, Van Basten, one of the greatest strikers ever to grace the game, had to retire at 29 years old. But Milan didn't keep him around because he'd won, he was 2 Ballon d'Ors. They didn't keep him around because he'd won 2 of the Ballon d'Ors and he was the European best striker for 2 or 3 years. He retired. I feel badly for him, but I have no sympathy. He gets paid millions of pounds a year. It's tough shit. Like, it is tough. Malacia is on contract. You can't let a player go like this. He was injured. We should be happy that he's back from a long-term injury. Look, I'm happy that Malacia is back. I'm happy for him and his career that he's back. I don't care. Like, we're not a charity. Let him run down his contract. Goodbye. Have a good career. Then that's fine. I think no one's questioning it because we all knew he had to be sold. Didn't manage to probably exactly. We managed to burn off the festive food and booze. Newcastle looked as though they were still on it. Dorgu was everywhere. He was like a vampire going for the jugular when Delict is coming back. I don't know, mate. I'm gonna have to find out for you. So look, guys, I am gonna go. Just fantastic show, guys, legends. Absolute thank you so much for being here. Watch along. We won. Who do we start for the Wolves game, Simon? I think we start Fletcher. I do. I think one of the youth players comes in now, mate. I think Amorim is now going to be forced into, if Kobe Mainoo's back, I think Kobe Mainoo plays. If not, one of the youth players. So look, Wolves, I think we should beat Wolves. I'm not concerned about the Wolves game, and then we get that game done, then hopefully we should start getting some players back. So I'm not too concerned about Wolves. Gideon Dorgu today was the man of the match for me. I thought he did fantastically well. So look, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. It's been quite a long stream. So great stream. Enjoy the rest of your Christmas. Have a good weekend, you all. Thank you, Simon. So look, guys, absolutely thank you so much, legends, for being here. United have got the win, a needed win. We're fifth. Look, let's just hope. Let's just hope that this is the start of something. We always say it. This is going to be the start of something. So I hope now that this truly is the start of something. We can move and we can progress, and we'll go on to Wolves. So Wolves is the 30th, I think. So brilliant. So look, guys, thank you for being here. I will be back tomorrow. I will do a show tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. It's a funny time for me, because I'm just a smaller channel. It is just me on here. I don't have a team of people. So it is just me. So I have to work this around my family commitment. So look, guys, legends. I can't thank you enough. Right? I say this all of the time, that this channel is nothing without you guys. Every like, every subscriber, do not underestimate every message, every interaction. Do not underestimate how important it is. Every single person that comes onto this channel, whether it's positive, whether we agree, whether we don't, whether it's banter, I thank you all, because it means so much to me. It means so much to the channel, and we get bigger and bigger and bigger. And the bigger we get, the more things that I can do, and the bigger the channel gets. So look, guys, as I said, I will be back tomorrow. Have a good rest of your morning, evening. Merry Christmas, and again, if you're not here, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Hopefully some of you will be back in the next couple of days. I will try and do a show or 2 shows every single day. I'm not going to spam you with crap, because that's not what we do on here. But yeah, guys, legends. So look, thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Merry Christmas, and I will see you very, very soon. Take care, and